Human King was sitting in the 33 skies. He had become the owner of the Geno Tablet, but the Geno Tablet was unable to replace the Geno Hall to become the leader of the universe. He had to wait until the Geno Hall was overthrown. If there was no Geno Tablet, even if one beat the Geno Hall, one could not become the universe's controller. Human King had the most basic fundamentals, so all he required was the last step. Congratulations, leader, on becoming the leader of the universe. The members of Blood Legion all bowed before Human King profusely. Countless generations of their people had given up so much in their long wait for this day. They had created Blood Legion for this purpose. Now, Human King only required one final step to become the leader of the universe. Mr. Leader, when are we going to fight the Geno Hall? A Blood Legion member asked with much excitement. There is no rush for that just yet, Human King said. Crepe Myrtle destroyed my body. Although what he tried did not work, his power has made my body combine far slower. It will still take me a while to completely absorb Qinshou's power for me to complete that last step. What an obscene man he was, a member madly proclaimed. He should have known he could not ultimately stop you from becoming the Geno Tablet's leader. He has been a right thorn in your backside. Wait until you walk that last step. Then, you will be able to kill every last person inside that wretched Geno Hall. He is my enemy, Human King said. Crepe Myrtle did not do anything wrong. After all, we are the ones seeking to overthrow his rule and usher in the dawn of a new age. It is understandable that he only wants to stop us from achieving that. Wait until we defeat the Geno Hall. If he wants to, I can find a position for him to work at in the 33 skies. With his power and knowledge, it would only be a big boon for Blood Legion. Of course, he is a prideful man. I suspect he would sooner choose death than obey me. An old member, with lots of white hair, came forward to bow before Human King. You are right. Only doing that can show Blood Legion is actually quite reasonable. When I control under the sky, I am willing to be the spokesperson. I will convince Crepe Myrtle to join our legion. There is no rush, Human King said with a squint of his eyes. One more thing, we must sort all of this out before we assault Geno Hall. Otherwise, there will be trouble. What thing? All the members looked at Human King with curiosity. They did not know that, aside from the Geno Hall, there could be someone else that might challenge their rule of the universe. Han Sen has a daughter called Bauer. Isn't that correct? Human King looked at God's Retribution. God's Retribution's heart froze. He bowed and said, yes. Han Sen has a daughter, Han Bauer. Out of all of his children, I would think she is his favorite one. She is the one who is always around him. What is it? God's Retribution may have said all of this, but he still felt a profound worry in his heart. The leader is asking about Bauer. Does he want to do something bad to Han Sen? Human King coldly said that Han Bauer has always been around 5 years old. She has never grown up. Isn't that right? Yes, that is right, God's Retribution said with a nod. Even if he wanted to help Han Sen, he could not lie to his superior. The things Human King wanted to know about Bauer were too obvious. In that case, it must be right, Human King said. We have to find Han Bauer. Bring her to me. God's Retribution wondered how he might be able to find out what it was Human King was looking to do. It was fortunate another member was willing to inquire out loud. Mr. Leader, why do you need Han Sen's child? I do not mean to bring Han Sen any harm. That girl is not Han Sen's real daughter anyway. She is the daughter of the last Geno Hall leader and the leader of the God Chaos Party. She is a big threat to Blood Legion's rule. Therefore, we must take steps to remove her. Human King did not hide his intent. He talked about Bauer's history openly next. Is that who Bauer is? Everyone was shocked after hearing this. They all agreed they should capture Bauer. You guys still need to adjust to your new powers, Human King coldly said. You do not need to go. God Chaos Party is currently under my control. Just let them go. He did not think anyone would be able to kill Bauer, but he needed someone to force Bauer out of hiding. Only then could Bauer be erased. You guys should go back now. If there is nothing important you require of me, do not disturb me. I must focus on working on the last step. Human King waved his hand and told everyone to depart. When all the other members were gone, Human King said to himself, if I had not received Qinshou's memories, I would not have known Han Sen had a daughter like that. That Qin Xiu was so arrogant. He did not even realize what kind of dangerous being there was out there. I will not make the mistake he would have. I will have Bauer under control long before I achieve control of the Geno Hall. Human King had access to all of Qin Xiu's memories. He knew Bauer was currently in the sanctuaries. Blood Legion came from the sanctuaries, but they could never return to the sanctuaries. If they wanted to capture Bauer, they would have to do it in Space Garden and force Bauer to come out of the sanctuaries. Things in Space Garden were not the best right now, and that was mainly because Han Sen had gone missing following his battle against Crepe Myrtle. Although Mr. White assured everyone that Han Sen was not dead, people were still worrying a lot about his welfare. It seemed calm had returned to the universe. Human King had the Geno tablet. The big fight could be triggered at any second. No one had the mood to do anything. Little uncle, your power is so strong. Why are you still single? If I was you, I would marry many women. I would go for all the pretty ones. I would have the prettiest women from the dragon and even from the sky. Tang Jinliu looked at Wang Yuhang with profound jealousy. He was practicing with Wang Yuhang. He could not fight Wang Yuhang, though. It was like fighting Wang Yuhang was a big crime. Wang Yuhang moved his lips, but he did not say anything. He shook his head. To get a woman with that power, to me, would be like getting myself a sex doll. You might like a sex doll, but I do not like that. Tang Jinliu wished to say something to counter that, but he suddenly heard a boom. It was like a huge hole had formed in the sky. The whole of Space Garden tremored. F***CK. Who is so ballsy that they have come to meddle with Space Garden? Tang Jinliu was very angry. He looked at the sky and saw the sky was full of space battleships that were breaking down Space Garden's defenses. They were headed for Space Garden. Many scary creatures were flying next to the ships. There were some leaders from the 33 skies too. Tang Jinliu had seen many of these people before. He recognized that they once belonged to God Chaos Party. Wang Yuhang's and Tang Jinliu's faces changed. God Chaos Party has gone nuts. Why are they attacking Space Garden? In Space Garden, Ningyu, Huang Fujing, Xie Qing King, Very High Leader, Sky Palace Leader, and the others all emerged. Many of the elites looked up at the sky filled with battleships and frightening creatures. They did not know what was going on. The battleships and scary creatures were covering the sky and the daylight. It was like the whole of Space Garden was now covered in clouds. Where is Han Sen? Amidst the many scary creatures, someone walked forward. It was Ichi. He looked down on Space Garden and boomed his voice like rolling thunder. The whole of Space Garden quaked in response. Han Yufei stood in front of everyone else and spoke up to him. Han Sen is not here in the garden. Just tell us what you wish to say to him. Ichi Cold replied, My master has commanded me to come here. We are here to reclaim the Geno Hall bloodline. Han Yufei squinted her eyes and responded, If you want the Geno Hall bloodline, go knock on the Geno Hall's door. Why come out here to bother us in Space Garden? Do you not know Han Sen's daughter, Han Bauer, is not actually his daughter? Ichi asked. She has a bloodline connected to the Geno Hall. My master told me that because we are the same kind, if you hand over Han Bauer, we will not do anything to damage the prosperity of Space Garden. You will be free to remain here in Space Garden. And what if we don't? Han Yufei looked like she was smiling, but she wasn't smiling. In this world, having another Space Garden will not be much, Ichi said. Having less of a Space Garden does not constitute less. Even if Space Garden is deleted, another faction will only replace it. We do not truly care for the existence of Space Garden. Tang Jinliu was so angry that he wished to say something, but Han Yufei spoke first. That is Han Sen's child. She has nothing to do with us. If you want her, go ahead and take her. But what I utterly despise is seeing someone with the audacity to threaten me. Now that you have spoken your piece, I have decided not to give it to you. I would like to see how you fare in destroying Space Garden. Not bad. If you truly have what it takes to destroy Space Garden, stop talking crap. Tang Jinliu followed with a shout. You must have a death wish. Ichi coldly grunted. He no longer wished to speak. He waved his hand and had many ships and scary creatures begin a crazy assault on Space Garden. A battleship opened its doors to release many break world beasts from the holds of the ship. They were like wolves that had been starved for months and were now free to go wild on the sheep pen that was Space Garden. Many break world beasts were in Space Garden. There were 100 of them. Boom. Space Garden had a Bysema that was created from a spell. It stopped the attack of the break world beasts, but the Bysema was then attacked by all kinds of break world beasts. It kept flickering. It looked like it was going to break any time. Get ready to fight. Han Yufei coldly grunted. She looked toward the base. The break world beasts were very shocking to witness. Space Garden had the power to fight, but Space Garden itself could not take on a fight that would be this big. If people started to fight, the place would only fall apart. Aside from the elites, the ordinary people in Space Garden would undoubtedly die. The Space Garden's Bysema had been established by Mr. White. Only Mr. White knew if it would hold. Send for Lin Feng. You guys focus on the fight and do not worry about anything else, Mr. White said to Han Yufei. It made Han Yufei feel much calmer. In that case, let's fight. Han Yufei made a command. Tang Zhenliu, who wanted to fight so badly, broke space. He pulled out a knife and went straight for the Bysema and attacked a break world beast. Before his knife could reach that break world beast, a sky full of green feathers came down like a rain of arrows. Every green feather pierced through the bodies of the break world beasts and killed them. 100 break world beasts were swiftly eliminated. A quiet man wearing green feathers for clothing was sitting in space. It was Ningyu. 9 real. He is yours. Ichi spoke to a break world beast. The break world beast was like a white tiger. It was not big, but it was bigger than an ordinary tiger. It was resting atop a ship. It heard Ichi's command and woke up from its slumber lazily. It looked at Ningyu and returned to sleep. Seeing the white tiger not listen to his commands, Ichi was annoyed. There was nothing he could do about it. He spoke to a big black bird and said, "Fish bird, go and kill him." The big black bird looked cold. It flapped its wings and flew from the ship. It was like a black bolt of lightning that could split the sky and the ground. It was going right for Ningyu. You guys stop chilling. We should let them know the true power of the God Chaos Party. When Ichi made a command, many battleships opened their doors. Many break world beasts came pouring out. There had to have been at least 1,000 of them. Ningyu's body glowed with a green light. All of the green feathers were like sword lights, and they were flying. They looked as if they were going to kill the break world beasts. Before his light feathers flew out, many inky feathers fell from the sky. They turned his green feathers into shattered pieces. They crumbled and slowly fell. Ningyu saw the big black fish bird and frowned. He sensed that the fish bird possessed a scary power inside it. Seeing Ningyu stop and not be able to take out any more break world beasts, Han Yufei and the others emerged from the Bysema. They went out there to fight the break world beasts. Suddenly, the sky and the ground became incredibly dark. The shockwaves from the fighting were everywhere. Although the fights were intense, no matter how scary the powers were or how powerful the shockwaves were, the Bysema shielding Space Garden did not break. On the top floor of the base, Lin Feng saw Mr. White standing in front of the chess game. He was confused and asked, "Mr. White, why did you call me here?" "Come, play a game of chess with me," Mr. White said as he pointed at the chessboard. Lin Feng was shocked. He did not know what Mr. White was meaning. After all, why would he favor playing chess at a time like that? But Lin Feng understood Mr. White. He knew he was a man who took things seriously, so there had to be a reason why he was behaving this way. He sat down across from Mr. White. There were already chess pieces laid out across the chessboard. It was set up in a check. Lin Feng had a look around the board. The black chess pieces he had were in bad shape already. "It is your turn." Mr. White laughed after putting down a chess piece. Lin Feng nodded and picked up a chess piece. He followed the chessboard with his eyes. It was at that moment his face changed. The chessboard felt as if it had an incredible amount of power surging through it. Where he wanted to put the chess piece down had a power rise from the space. It made his hand, and the chess piece bounced away. Lin Feng almost coughed up blood. It seemed as if Mr. White expected this to happen. He slowly said, "Slow down. Use your super god spirit body to feel the power of the chessboard. What you need to do is use your power to adjust the strength. Borrow the east and fill up the west. Do not fight against it." Lin Feng understood the chessboard was connected to the Bysema that was shielding Space Garden. Mr. White wanted him to hold it. A shocking number of break world beasts had come. They were like dark clouds blanketing the sky, unceasing in their advance. Wang Yuhang was riding his bike out of the Bysema. He was already in his ultimate super god spirit mode. His entire body was so pretty to look at. Wherever the bike was, a bloody cascade came falling as the break world beasts started to rip each other to shreds. Tang Zhenliu was having fun watching. He laughed and said, "Good job, little uncle. Is this all the God Chaos Party can throw at us? What was the point of bringing in all of those break world beasts? With little uncle here, if 1,000 come, 1,000 will die. If 10,000 come, 10,000 will die. Interesting. There is no 1,000 or 10,000. There is only me. How are you guys going to kill me?" An evil and seductive voice rang through space. There was a weird woman with 2 heads on the approach. She stopped Wang Yuhang's advance. The break world beasts that were killing each other under the influence of Wang Yuhang's power had their eyes turn red. Now, they all jumped toward Wang Yuhang. Wang Yuhang was shocked by the reversal of allegiance. He knew he had encountered a mighty foe. He madly exploded his super hormone, seeking to turn things around quickly. The break world beasts around were affected by Wang Yuhang and the lady with 2 heads. Their eyes kept turning red, going crazy nonstop. They would jump to Wang Yuhang, and then they would jump to the 2-headed woman. The woman with 2 heads had a face that was very seductive and another face that looked very cold, but they felt as if they had magical powers. They were trying to fight back and gain control of the break world beasts to overthrow the grip Wang Yuhang had on the creatures. Some break world beasts went crazy because of the constant flipping of emotions. They went crazy so that they started ripping up their own bodies. Their bodies became pieces and chunks. They tore themselves up so much that their bones showed, yet they still would not stop. "It has been so long since I last encountered an opponent that posed a challenge," the pretty face said. "You should remember my name, for my name is Shelley." The body of the woman came for Wang Yuhang. Wang Yuhang and Shelley started to fight. They did not have the time to notice other things. The break world beasts around them were still affected, though. The other break world beasts beyond those, however, were headed for the Bysema around Space Garden. Huang Fujing rushed out of the Bysema. She teleported in front of a break world beast. She used her long legs like a bat leaks to cut the break world beast in half. The white tiger opened its eyes. Before Ichi could speak again, it stood up. It looked at Huang Fujing and moved its legs and vanished. When it appeared again, it was directly in front of Huang Fujing. Pang! Huang Fujing's heart jumped. She lifted her arms. The moment she moved, the white tiger showed up with its claws coming down against Huang Fujing. If she hadn't been a second quicker, the claws would have shredded her eyes. The 2 powers attacked. Space around started to crack. Even the bodies of the break world beasts around were breaking. The scary attacks had started, and Space Garden's powerful elites were already fighting. There were still many creatures in Space Garden that were simply watching the battle unfold. That included the very high and Sky Palace students. The Sky Palace students in particular were feeling awfully glum. Space Garden had many elites fighting there, but in Sky Palace, only Sky Palace leader could participate in the combat. "We of Sky Palace were once the best in the universe, but now we must rely on the protection of others." A Sky Palace elder let out a sigh. In fact, this was what most of the Sky Palace students were thinking. They all felt very sad. While they were feeling sad and complaining, 2 shadows from the Sky Palace camp, a black and a white one, arose. They departed the safety of the Bysema and plunged into the break world beast horde. It is Lone Bamboo and Yu Shanshin. When the Sky Palace students saw those 2, they become incredibly happy. "Yes, we of Sky Palace have Lone Bamboo and Yu Shanshin in our midst. They are no weaker than the elites of Space Garden." Seeing Lone Bamboo and Yu Shanshin in the middle of all those beasts, they saw that one of them had a very sharp sword light. The other wielded a very light jade finger. They were no worse than the elites in Space Garden. People were very happy about their presence there. Ji Yanran was holding Linger, but she looked worried. Space Garden had many elites, but God Chaos Party had many more break world beasts and elites. They watched the break world beasts come without reprieve. Many break-world beasts kept coming. They kept trying to bring down the Bysema. Little Gold, take care of my mother and my little sister. Little Flower spoke to Golden Growler, who was next to Ji Yanran. He turned to Ji Yanran and said, Mother, the situation is awfully glum. I am going into battle. Be careful. Fight what you can, but run away if it becomes too much. That is the Han family tradition. Do not bring us any embarrassment. Ji Yanran touched Little Flower on the head. Mother, do not worry. In this world, there are no other people that can take our lives. After saying that, Little Flower broke space and departed. His body glowed with white light. He looked like another person. He did not look young. His white, long hair was floating like a battle god was descending. The moment he rushed out of the Bysema, Little Flower moved his hand. Time and space started to change. The break-world beasts that were going to Space Garden suddenly turned around. They struck the other break-world beasts. I have heard that the holy body's time and space power is invincible. Today, I, Ichi, am going to learn of it. Ichi traveled through time and stopped Little Flower's assault. The space fight was not stopping. It made the universe collapse. Stars were breaking. Aside from the Bysema that was protecting Space Garden, space around was an utter mess. It was like the end of the world. In the evolution wall, Han Sen was suffering under the duress of so much pressure. His body was not breaking, but his soul was not something unbreakable. The spirits of many different races showed up from all inches of the evolution wall. There had to be at least 30,000 of them. Han Sen received pressure from 30,000 different powers. His will was so tense that it was like steel. It looked as if he was going to break at any second. If this was another creature, their will would have been crushed. They would be turned into an idiot. Right now, the whole concept of Han Sen not yet going nuts was something of a miracle. Beneath that pressure, his body had yet to move. He still could not trigger his body's power to combine with his will and soul. Did Crepe Myrtle want to turn me into an idiot? Han Sen knew that it would not be possible, but he still felt as if his will was yearning to snap. He was not a god. He was just a human. Humans had their limits. Han Sen felt as if his will was going to be pushed too far beyond his limit. Suddenly, the evolution wall displayed a new race. It lit up. The name was brighter than the name of any other race. It was like a bright moon amidst a sea of stars. It was so pure. Fairy. When Han Sen saw the word, he was shocked. Han Sen knew what the word meant, but there were two possibilities. First, it was the jade spirit fairies that were made from chaos. The other had a chance of being scarier. That word might have meant the God Chaos Party leader. To be accurate, only the God Chaos Party leader was a fairy. The Jade Holy Fairies were just some products Chaos had created. Chaos was born in the Geno universe. Was she able to light up a lantern in the Geno Hall? If that was the case, that should be something so scary. Han Sen was shocked. His will was going to break soon. If the word fairy meant chaos, then the power must have been unimaginable. She surely would have been the creature closest to that step. From within that god light, a woman who looked like a fairy and a jade started to come. She stepped out of the dust cloud. Holy was not a word that could be used to describe her anymore. It was like she was the most spiritual being in all of the universe. Every inch and every centimeter of her body, and even the garments she wore, were very elegant. The aura she exuded was truly out of this world. Her appearance made Han Sen's very tense will become weaker. He was like a rubber band that was now being pulled to the max. It was going to snap any second. Crepe Myrtle said that on the evolution wall, no creature had ever managed to reach the universe class. If that is true, what could possibly be up with this fairy? Her powers are still so strong. She is better than any other creature I have ever encountered. But can a creature this mighty not have reached universe class yet? Han Sen was shocked by the power he was witnessing. His will was becoming overwhelmed. If the fairy's power came down, Han Sen would be unable to hold it. If his will broke, even if he did not turn into an idiot, he would lose all of the confidence he had in himself and any faith he had in his abilities of combat. For a fighter, that was the worst possible outcome. Power was the foundation of an elite, but courage was the soul of an elite. Without a soul, having a powerful body meant very little. It meant one would just be a weak person with very powerful power. While Han Sen was still mulling all of this over, the fairy woman's power descended. Crepe Myrtle, you just got me killed. If you turn me into an idiot, I will curse your son so he does not have a penis. Han Sen cursed him, but he had to focus if he wanted to fight back against that scary power. Boom. When the power descended, Han Sen's brain felt as if it had exploded. It was very oppressive. It was rather like a river. It kept hitting his mental dam, which seemed as if it was going to break any second now. Space Garden was fighting back against the enemy tide as hard as they could. Their resilience was far greater than the elders of the God Chaos Party could have anticipated. Just a small number of Space Garden's forces were able to repel and break the advance of God Chaos Party's many elites and break world monsters. Many break world beasts attacked, but they too were repelled. This is so scary. This is just a small amount of Space Garden's whole power. There are so many break world elites in their ranks. If they keep developing, God Chaos Party might not be able to rein them in and keep them on a leash. Mr. Leader is so smart. He could already understand the threat of Space Garden, and he has already sought their removal. That might indeed be the case, but we have already sent out God Chaos Party's entire forces. Yet, we still have not been able to capture Space Garden. Should we call upon the leader to help us out? Inside a battleship, a few God Chaos Party elders were discussing matters in a private meeting. An elder said, "No, Human King has only just become the Geno Tablet's master. He has become the master. If I cannot do this without his involvement, he will not make use of me anymore. But if you do not ask for help, even if you do get Space Garden, most of God Chaos Party will be dead," another elder said, disagreeing with the last one. "There will be very little left of us. With our current power, how are we supposed to secure an important seat in our party?" "The two of you are right in your own way," said another elder with a bird face. "We have to do this, but we cannot give up all of our wealth." "Bird Elder, you are the one with the most creative ideas here. What do you propose we do to combine both of these ideas?" Every elder looked at the bird-like elder. Bird Elder laughed. "Our mission is to get Han Sen's stepdaughter, Han Bauer, out of there. Mr. Leader never told us to destroy Space Garden, so why are we doing things this way? Is there a difference between them? In Space Garden, these guys are going to protect Han Sen's stepdaughter. If we do not defeat Space Garden, how can we force Han Bauer out of there?" The elder from earlier did not understand, so he asked for clarification. Bird Elder lifted his lips and said, "You guys have been alive for so long. Have you also become dogs in that time? Before you came, did you not spend time investigating the Han Sen family?" "Bird Elder, why don't you just hurry up and spill the beans?" a grumpy elder asked while looking at Bird Elder with displeasure. "We are all elders, so there is no need to hide things." Bird Elder took a deep breath and said, "From what I know, Han Sen has 2 daughters. He also has a few stepdaughters. Han Bauer is the one who is loved the most. She is treated as well as a biological one. If I had a stepdaughter who was that excellent, I would also treat her as well as a biological daughter," an elder said while lifting his lips. "When she grew up, our family would reap all sorts of glories." Bird Elder coughed. "This has nothing to do with what I am saying. What I want to say is that Han Sen and Han Bauer have a great relationship. They are like a real father and daughter. And that isn't with just Han Sen either. Even Han Sen's wife treats Han Bauer like a real mother would. Han Sen's children are treated like real siblings by Han Bauer too. We do not actually require Space Garden. All we must do is capture Han Sen's family. Then, Han Bauer will be willing to do everything." "Why should we only capture Han Sen's wife and daughter?" an elder asked with confusion. Bird Elder pointed at Little Flower, who was in the middle of fighting Itchy, and said, "That is Han Sen's biological son. If you think you can capture him, then go and capture him." An elder went to have a look. He squeezed his neck. Someone as terrifying as Itchy was actually getting bullied by Little Flower. If it was not for other God Chaos Party members helping him out, he would have died by now. He did not dare to try to capture that boy. Bird Elder watched him stop talking and said, "All of the elites are out now. They have left Space Garden, leaving the place empty and unprotected. We should slip inside now and capture Han Sen's wife and daughter. If we do that, it is our best chance at success. But the Space Gardens by Sema is weird. Many break world beasts have been attacking it for so long, yet they have been unable to break it. How are we supposed to gain access? A bunch of elders looked at Bird Elder weirdly, knowing he would have a way around this. He should have had a suggestion to gain access. That is easy, Bird Elder said. Of course, we cannot get inside. But don't forget that a special break world beast came with us. A Bysema beast can only go through Bysema. They cannot break the Bysema though. What is the point of it going in alone? This Bysema beast has only just managed to break the world. It is not very strong. Any break world elite in Space Garden will be able to kill it. Bird Elder laughed. We can have someone go into the Bysema beast's belly, so they are smuggled into Space Garden. There might be a way, but who are we going to send in there? An elder asked. The God Chaos Party elites were attacking Space Garden. It seemed as if sounding the retreat would not be the right course of action. This is the sky reward, Bird Elder said. We cannot give it to someone else. I do not think there are any break world elites left in Space Garden. If there were, they would not allow the break world beasts to attack the Bysema. So, the Bysema beast should be able to do this itself. But the reward will go to the Bysema beast. Perhaps we will not receive any of the benefits. We must go there by ourselves, so we can get a reward from Mr. Leader. When people heard what Bird Elder was going to go, they felt rather hesitant. They were all elders of the God Chaos Party and very strong, but they had lived for far too long. Normally, creatures that lived for such a long period of time cherished their lives. They would let themselves live 1 billion years and cherish their life greatly. So, they were God Chaos Party elders, but they were not the main members. When Human King asserted control of the God Chaos Party, he did not have much in the way of manpower. That was why they were used. Otherwise, no one would have wanted them to attack Space Garden. Of course, there was another reason. Many core members of the God Chaos Party had betrayed the organization. Barry Pathgod had been absorbed by Qin Xiu's hands, and Rocky D was missing. There were not many people to use. If you guys do not want to come along, I will go alone. But you will not be able to quarrel over who the reward belongs to. Bird Elder coldly laughed. Fine, I will go with you, an elder moaned. He gnashed his teeth and decided to shoulder the risk with him. 5 more elders quickly agreed to join. They summoned the Bysema beast. The 5 of them hid themselves inside the Bysema beast. The Bysema snuck into Space Garden while the chaos was happening. Mr. White was still playing chess with Lin Feng. His heart jumped. Something must have happened. His fingers were holding a chess piece. His other hand was holding several other chess pieces. He threw them down on the table. He looked at a few of the chess pieces and frowned. Is it good or bad? If it is bad, it will be unable to be dodged. It is hard to predict if this is good or bad. Mr. White, is something wrong? Lin Feng asked. Nothing. Let's just keep playing chess and defend this place, Mr. White said. He looked at Ji Yanran, the mother and daughter. Ji Yanran was holding Linger. She was watching the fight going on up there. She was not very good when it came to combat, so she did not chip in. Little Gold laid down next to Ji Yanran. Ever since something happened in Space Garden, he had not left. It was like it had decided to perpetually sleep where it was. Suddenly, the sleeping little Gold opened its eyes. It raised its head. It looked in a certain direction outside of the base. Ji Yanran noticed little Gold's odd behavior, so she asked, Little Gold, what is going on? Little Gold did not answer her. He stood up and continued looking in a certain direction. On the other side, Little Silver, Little Cat, the little red bird, and the other pets of the Han family were all resting. They all stood up and went to stand next to Ji Yanran, the mother and the daughter. Bird Elder is so smart, said a God Chaos Party elder who was sitting on the Bysema beast's back. He was laughing like a madman. The Space Garden elites are all out. I cannot feel the presence of any break world elites right now. We are going to get a big reward for doing this. Space Garden's break world elites, the ones who were able to combat the threat, were already out. Now, all that remained were the students. Not even the strongest student had managed to break the world yet. They saw a beast that looked like a big dragon come, and it gave them all a shock. Their reactions were not slow. They used their powers to repel and slow the beast, but their powers were not sufficient to touch the body of the beast. An elder was sitting atop the back of the Bysema beast. He was going to attack. He was going to kill the Space Garden student, but Bird Elder stopped him. "Ignore them," Bird Elder said. "Focus on the matter at hand. Killing these guys will be easy. We can come back and mop the floor with them later." He then commanded the big beast to go to the yard Ji Yanran was in. He had learned where Ji Yanran lived a long time ago. He had formed this idea a long time ago. No, they are going to the yard where the leader is. Many of the students of Space Garden were all in shock. They really wanted to stop the big beast now, but their power was too small before the might of the Bysema beast. They would not even be able to touch the body of the Bysema beast. The Bysema beast was able to go through everything and head for Han Sen and Ji Yanran's house. Boom, boom. The whole of the house was broken down by the Bysema beast's body. The house was shattered. Ji Yanran ran out of the house while clutching Linger. Are they Han Sen's wife and daughter? An elder caught sight of Ji Yanran and Linger. When he did, his eyes turned bright. Yes, that is them. Bird Elder was very excited by the sight too. If he captured them, Han Bauer was sure to emerge. Bysema beast, I command you to swallow them. The elder that controlled the Bysema beast gave out an order. He wanted the Bysema beast to swallow Ji Yanran, the mother and the daughter. After that, they would hastily depart Space Garden. The Bysema beast had only just opened its mouth when a gold light came from everywhere. A giant, gold, big beast appeared from space. It was far bigger than the Bysema beast. It swallowed the Bysema beast. Bird Elder and the other elders were in shock. They all evaded the strike. The Bysema beast was far too slow to move out of the way, so it ended up getting bitten and chewed up by the big gold beast. It swallowed all of its skin and bones. What is going on? Since when did Space Garden harbor such a powerful creature? An elder was in shock as he looked at Bird Elder. Bird Elder looked at Golden Growler angrily and said, Han Sen's wife and daughter have a powerful creature looking over them. Stop talking crap. The Bysema beast is gone. We cannot get out now. We have no choice but to take down Han Sen's wife and daughter. The 5 of us must work together. If we do, we can make that big gold beast fall. Just kill it. Bird Elder seemed to expect this would happen. Otherwise, he would not have wanted to bring other elders to reap his rewards. The other elders knew it was too late for them to bail, so they gnashed their teeth to fight alongside Bird Elder. Although their guts were small, and they were afraid to die, their power was still with them. The power they wielded was very scary. 5 scary powers went for Golden Growler. Golden Growler came before Ji Yanran and emitted a gold light. It fired a stream of gold light to strike the 5 incoming powers. Boom! Golden Growler's body was blasted backward a little. He almost hit Ji Yanran and Linger, the mother and the daughter, but his body suddenly stopped. Bird Elder and the others were both shocked and happy. Individually in the God Chaos Party, their 5 powers would have been rated from between medium and high. When used together, their 5 powers were enough to beat back the Gold Big Beast. The Gold Big Beast's power was very scary. They were happy their 5 powers could suppress the Big Gold Beast, so that made them feel much safer. Little gold. Linger saw Golden Growler's mouth was bleeding blood. Now, Bird Elder and his people were unleashing more scary powers her way. She screamed. Golden Growler ignored the blood that was oozing from his mouth. His eyes were shining gold. He opened up his mouth again. This time, when the mouth opened, it did not release a scary gold light. He was spitting out a golden door. Bird Elder did not care much for the presence of the golden door. They had seen many weird powers over the course of their lifetime, but they had not seen golden doors before. Even creatures that could use their powers to create castles were something they had witnessed in the past. They had seen an awful lot. Without hesitation, they increased the voltage of their outgoing powers. They attacked the golden door Golden Growler was releasing. Boom! The 5 powers that could destroy the sky and the ground crashed into the door. It made the golden door echo with sound, but their powers could not break open the golden door. Bird Elder and the 5 people were all shocked. One elder looked weirded out and asked, "How is such a thing possibly possible? With the power used by all 5 of us elders, not even someone like Ichi, if he were to generate a time door, would be unable to resist our might." We could break down his time doors, so how can this golden door not be broken with ease? What kind of power is this creature using? Bird Elder thought something must have been wrong about this too. Before they could do anything, there was a sudden catcha noise. The 5 elders were shocked. They looked at the golden door that did not appear to be ajar. A golden light came out from beyond the golden door. It was like the waning light at sunset, and it was seeping out from the gap between the door and the door frame. Before Bird Elder and the others could react, wherever the gold light shone on, that space was turned into nothing. Bird Elder, who was a powerful existence, immediately melted beneath the force of that golden light. He did not even have a chance to scream about his demise. The Break World elites that had a break world rate of at least 95% vanished completely. There was no trace of them left behind. Little Gold, it is fine. You can put the golden door away now. Ji Yanran shouted at Golden Growler. She knew what would happen if the golden door was opened completely. The whole of Space Garden would undoubtedly be destroyed. Fortunately, Golden Growler seemed to be aware of this. He did not really open the golden door. He swallowed the golden door back down. The students going into the house were relieved. Last time, when Little Gold opened the golden door, many students saw the scary scene. When the golden door opened up, Human King, in the 33 skies, opened his eyes. He looked surprised. How is that possible? How can they possess this power? That is impossible. Human King's face looked more and more shocked. His heart jumped, and his eyes started to spin. It was like a view of the whole universe was now inside him. When Human King saw the golden door unleash its gold light, his body quaked. His eyes flashed strangely. Is such a thing even possible? Does this universe truly have a creature like this? Behind the golden door is there. Human King's face kept changing. A long time later, Human King looked as if he had come to a decision. He stepped out of the 33 skies. The whole of Space Garden had become a butcher's landscape. Crazy killing and dead life were now everywhere. White bones and bloody chunks were strewn across the land, far and wide. There was the sound of broken bones and gushing blood filling the acoustic soundscape. In a raging, crazy fight, it was not that scary. Instead, it gave people a hot and blood-boiling rush. Little Flower's clothes were white, but his eyes were red. He did not know how many Break World beasts he had killed by this point, but there were more and more Break World beasts coming. It was like their numbers were infinite. It was not just Little Flower in such a state. All of the elites from Space Garden were soaked in blood. It was their own blood, but also mixed with even more of the enemy's blood. The eyes of the elites of the God Chaos Party were turning red too. Their wild side covered their senses. Only the enemy's fresh blood could cool down their own boiling blood. Suddenly, there was a shadow above Space Garden. It was like the whole battlefield was frozen. All of the creatures kept fighting. Some of them had their mouths wide open. Some of their faces were twisted. Some of them looked scared. Some of them held their faces and cried aloud. All of the creatures kept their emotions frozen from how they were only a second ago. The broken limbs and blood splatters were frozen in the air. Time seemed to have stopped. Even Ichi and Ningyu, who were powerful Break World elites, were the same way. They were frozen and could not move. Everyone knew this was not time itself coming to a halt. If time had been stopped, their thoughts would have been stopped as well. Now, they could see things and think. They could just not move their eyes. Human King. Ningyu saw the frozen body emerge. His eyes went smaller as he did. Human King came from space. It was like he was the only living thing left in the universe. Everything else was completely silent. Even the powerful elites that had a Break World rate of 100% appeared dead in front of him. Tang Zhenliu saw Human King too. He really wanted to scream, "Let me go! Fight me if you have the balls to." But he could not even move his teeth. He could not provoke the man. Human King did not look at them. He merely walked forward. He ignored the God Chaos Party's people and their assault as if they did not actually exist. He kept walking to Space Garden. Space Gardens by Sema did not work on Human King. It was like there was only air there, and he was simply able to walk inside the floral realm. Inside Space Garden, everything had come to a standstill. Every creature had strangely stopped moving. They watched Human King walk to Han Sen's house. When Human King came, Bauer, who was currently in the sanctuaries, felt her heart jump. She stopped whatever she was doing. Why have you frozen? Keep practicing. You have not yet succeeded. You must learn how to combine with the gene seed. Chaos saw Bauer stop completely. She frowned and hurried her. I need to go to the Geno universe, Bauer said while lowering her head. Baby, you can't go back yet, Chaos said. Mom promises you that once you have succeeded in combining with this, you can go wherever you want to. Bauer raised her head. She looked certain as she spoke word by word. I am going back to the universe now, with or without your permission. Why? Chaos was shocked. This was the first time she had ever witnessed Bauer talk to her in such a way. It is because my mother is in danger, and I must save her, Bauer said. She then ran to the door. She did not hesitate. But I am right here, Chaos said. Her face instantly changed. She understood the mother she was referring to was not her. It was Han Sen's wife, Ji Yinran. In Space Garden, Human King walked alone and approached the remnants of a collapsed house. Rue. Ji Yinran and a bunch of pets were stuck inside that house. Golden Growler did not seem to be completely frozen. He stopped before Ji Yinran and looked at Human King, who was coming. He made some roaring and hostile sounds to stay his approach. It was like he was warning Human King not to enter the small garden. This really is unique. Human King looked at Golden Growler. He walked to the little yard. Roar. Golden Growler appeared to be a little afraid of this new nemesis, but he still managed to roar threateningly and allow a door to rise up from out of his mouth. Although he was not completely frozen, because of the effect of Human King's power, Golden Growler's motions were very slow. The golden door came out of his mouth very slowly, and it was presented before Human King to block him. Is that it? Human King looked at the golden door strangely. He did not plan on doing anything. In fact, if Human King moved first, Golden Growler would not have been able to spit out the golden door in the first place. He would have been instantly killed. The golden door had yet to open. Human King became annoyed. His heart jumped, and Golden Growler returned to normal. He was not affected by the power anymore. Roar! Golden Growler was trying to open the golden door, but his body was returning to normal. The golden door was now slightly ajar. The sunset-like gold light came out from the door and shone on Human King. When Human King saw the gold light, he raised his hand to hide his face. That gold light was like a small laser going across his body. Suddenly, his black crystal armor had a golden burn scorched right into it. That golden burn mark was expanding. It looked like it was going to burn right through the black crystal armor. Feeling the black crystal armor's painful feelings, Human King's eyes flashed wildly. He looked conflicted as he stared at the open golden door. This power, it feels like the power I felt before. When the door opens, is that the place? The angle of the golden door opened more and more. The beam of light became bigger and bigger. Human King stood before the golden light with his black crystal armor melting away. He was fading away. Wherever the gold light shone, the light turned into nothingness. Nothing could even survive it. Human King's eyes flashed. Behind his hands, he looked at the golden door. The gold light was very shiny. Even with his sense of vision, he could not see what might have been inside. Seeing the black crystal armor about to be destroyed, Human King realized he could no longer watch it. He wanted to get out and away from the golden light. Human King discovered that his body had been bound by that golden light. In a flabbergasting, totally unexpected turn of events, he discovered he was unable to teleport away from this wild force of light. He was shocked. He could not quite believe it. He could not fathom a power was capable of doing this to him. He knew he had to act fast, so he put an end to his hesitation. He moved his body as only he could. Through that movement, he went behind the golden light. Under the pressure of the gold light, not even an elite like Human King could move and break free. Even his black crystal armor had been wholly damaged by the golden light. In those parts across the armor that were receiving the light, there were scorch marks, dents, and holes all burned into the armor. Big chunks of it had been seared away. Roar! Golden Growler roared again. The golden door moved when Human King did. It kept him snared, not permitting Human King to escape the beam of light it shone on him. Human King frowned a little. He moved his will again. Suddenly, the power of the sky and the power of the ground gathered up. Golden Growler's power was affected, and he started to move slowly again. The golden door's speed slowed down. Human King quickly emerged from the area of golden light. Now, the black crystal armor on Human King's body was smoking white. Some places on him were burned. A black mark was left on Human King's body. It seemed as if only a little more time was needed before Human King's body was incinerated. More shockingly than that, the Geno prototype armor, which could usually recover in a jiffy, was not recovering itself quickly at all. When Human King walked away, it was still smoking white. Some spots on it were still burning. It was like the golden light's power was still there and unwilling to fade away. This must be the air of a growler, but the growlers should not have this power. Does this mixed growler have something special about it? Is it in his bloodline? Aside from the genes of a growler, what other genes could it possibly possess? Human King looked at Golden Growler weirdly. He kept thinking about it. With his naked eyes, he could not tell which genes the Golden Growler might have also possessed in its blood. Never mind. Let me take it back and research it. Human King teleported in front of Golden Growler. He held Golden Growler's head. Golden Growler wished to scream, but he passed out before he could do anything about it. The small golden door that was previously open was now gone. Although Human King wished to see what lurked beyond the golden door, his body could not withstand the gold light that seeped out of it. Entering it seemed as if it might be impossible. He would have to bring Golden Growler back with him first. He knocked out Golden Growler. Human King then looked at Linger and Ji Yanran and said to himself, "Since I am already here, I might as well take these with me too." God Chaos Party never had a threat that was grand enough to challenge the rule of the Geno Hall. It only makes sense. If we cannot do this small thing, the God Chaos Party will surely not survive. After that, Human King walked up to Ji Yanran. It only took him 2 steps to reach her position. He put out his hand with the intent to capture Ji Yanran. At that moment, Human King was instantly shocked. He saw a white light in Ji Yanran's chest. A transparent hand suddenly landed on her chest. Human King's pupils became smaller. He felt his soul tremble. He stumbled back and spit out some blood. He had absorbed Qin Xiu's soul and flesh. He had taken his power for himself. The flesh power was easier to combine with, but the soul power had not been obtained completely just yet. That palm was a pure soul attack. It made Human King's soul shake. The soul that had almost finished combining was nearly shattered. The voice of an angry child sounded. "Don't you dare bully little Gold and my mom." Human King saw who had hit him, and it gave him a shock. It was Han Sen and Ji Yanran's daughter. Han Linger's body was like a holy light. She was like a holy god spirit. One could not distinguish the presence of any actual flesh. Why would Han Sen have a god spirit daughter? Is this Han Linger the same as Han Bauer? Are they from elsewhere? Human King wondered. With Human King's power, even if the 12 Annihilation class main gods were to come to challenge him, there was a very high possibility that they would not be able to move freely in his presence. Han Linger did not seem to be affected by his power in the least. She stood where she was with her eyes wide open. She madly stared at Human King. Han Sen's daughters are indeed all special. Human King looked at Linger. The power in her body shifted from flesh power to a god spirit power. It was a pretty strange spectacle. It was the sort of power that typically belonged to a reboot blood pulse god spirit. Although Human King did not combine the 2 powers into one yet, using both powers was not too difficult. There was a spirit power all over his hand. His hand took on the form of a spirit. He reached out to latch onto Han Linger, but she jumped. She avoided Human King's hands. She was in the air. Her feet kicked toward Human King's head. She shouted, "Because you bullied little Gold, I will stomp you to death." Human King's movements were faster than Han Linger's. His spirit hand moved to grab Han Linger's ankle. He grabbed her ankle and pulled her down. He held on to Han Linger. Little kids that keep on fighting are not at all cute. Plus, women should be gentle. That is far more likable. Human King used God spirit powers to trap Han Linger in place. Han Linger was no longer able to move. "Let me go. You are a bad man." Han Linger was scared, and she started to scream. She had not practiced much. She only had Han Sen's genes. She could not really beat Human King. If Human King was not prepared, her spirit power would not have damaged Human King. If you keep screaming, I will lock you inside a coffin. You will be trapped in there for 1,000,000,000 years. Human King could not do anything to Han Linger. His power was sufficient to trap Han Linger, but he could not make Han Linger stop moving and talking. Seeing Han Linger continue to kick and scream, Human King reached out his hand with a desire to shut down Han Linger's will. Suddenly, he heard another shout. "Let go of my sister!" A man was there. He was wreathed in white flames as he approached. It was like he was carrying a mountain on his shoulders as his legs trembled in his slow walk forward. Upon seeing that person, Human King was given a fright. Han Sen's son, Han Little Flower. What is wrong with this guy's children? Under my rules, they are still able to walk around Space Garden. Are they really Han Sen's real daughter and son? Little Flower gasped as he approached. His eyes looked as if they were on fire. He stared at Human King and shouted, "Let go of my sister! Did you not hear me?" Human King did not want to waste any more time than he had to. For watching what was inside the golden door, his Geno prototype armor had been badly damaged. It would take a long time to fix. That made his combination time need to wait even longer. Human King waved his hand. It had the power to unleash and strike Little Flower. Little Flower's body was like a mountain. He was blasted away to break the buildings around. Before Human King went to capture Ji Yinran, Little Flower came out of the ruins. He walked out again. Human King could see Little Flower's clothes had been torn. The power on his chest was broken. But when he came back, his wounds had already healed. Aside from the broken clothes, one could not see the wounds on his chest anymore. I did not want to kill you. If you really want to die, then do not take it out on me for doing what I have been tasked to do. Human King walked to Little Flower as he spoke. From what Human King could see, Han Little Flower was weaker than Han Linger. She was free from his rule power, and Han Little Flower had to walk against his rule power. That was the difference between their levels. You touched my little sister. Do you know what that makes you? It makes you my enemy. You are now an enemy of me, Han Little Flower. Plus, I have no relations with you. Han Little Flower gnashed his teeth. He walked forward. Beneath the heavy pressure put upon him, his body was still able to remain upright. The white fire on his body was burning harder. Fine. 2 is enough for me. We do not need another. Human King waved his fist. This time, Human King wanted to kill. Earlier, he just wanted to subdue him and get him to back off. He had not wanted to kill him. Pang! That punch had a power that could destroy the sky and the ground. Little Flower crossed his arms to deflect the punch, but his body looked as if it had just been hit by a scary power. A deep trench was cleaved through the ground, cutting all the buildings in half. He was batted back all the way back into a forest. It was like even the forest had been cut open. Big brother. Han Linger was in a hurry to me. She was furious, so she struggled wildly in Human King's arms. She wanted to bite Human King a little. Human King got fed up and annoyed with her. He used his hand and placed it against Han Linger's head. He sealed her 7 senses. She could no longer scream or move. He wanted to go back for Ji Yinran, but his heart suddenly jumped. He looked over in a certain direction. He peered into a forest. A scary white flame appeared. It was like a volcanic eruption that fired up into the air to break the sky. Human King's rule power did not work where the white flame had come from. The substances that were frozen were now starting to move again. Seeing Little Flower manage to emerge from the forest, it seemed as if this time, Little Flower was looking a little different. Little Flower had inherited the Super King's spirit body from Han Sen, but that did not mean he would only have the King's spirit body. Little Flower had learned Sacred Leader's holy body power, and he had also been through the sanctuaries. He had managed to level up his super gene. Because Han Sen's genes were too strong for him, he had never been able to his super spirit god body. But his power and personality were hot forces that swirled inside him. He had been waiting for a chance for his genes to break through. Get your stinking hands off her, you damn dirty man. Let my sister go. Little Flower emerged from the forest. He was not like Han Sen or Han Linger. He had evolved to obtain a spirit body. The white flame on his body became a holy shadow. It was like a holy angel that had provided shelter to his body. The feelings that were so heavy like a mountain were now gone from Little Flower's body. What replaced it was a powerful sort of holiness. What is up with this family? Is Han Sen's family not even a human family that hails from the sanctuaries? Human King looked at Little Flower. It really did make him wonder. Human King believed his evolution path was the correct way forward. He had used the Blood Pulse Sutra to refine and perfect every generation. He had completely erased the crystallizer lineage within him, which was something inside the genes of humans that hailed from the sanctuaries. He had refined World King gods and Qin Shou's blood to have the body he possessed now. From what he could best tell, the crystallizer's blood was cheap and useless. If Han Sen was a human from the sanctuaries, he would have the blood of a crystallizer. So, how could he have so many powerful children? Human King thought, it does not matter how great Han Sen's genes are. He cannot compete with the most powerful gene in the universe. Only I can take that step. The way he looked at Little Flower was more polite. He smiled and said, actually, to be serious about all of this, you guys and your father Han Sen are actually descendants of mine. You are a part of my bloodline. In some way, you guys are my heirs. We are family, no matter which way you look at it. Bower is not your father's real daughter. She does not have human genes inside her. She is not related to you guys. Why are you killing each other on behalf of an outsider? Just hand Bower over, and I will refrain from hurting you guys. After all, I am your ancestor. Little Flower did not move an inch. The holy power around him became stronger and stronger. The area that was covered by his power was completely purified. The glow was able to recover the rules of all the substances. The broken buildings and plants were even recovering. The broken building was like new once more. The snapped trees healed. It was like everything was coming back to life. Human King, I do not care if you are an ancestor mine. Regardless of what you think, Bower is my big sister. Her having my blood in her veins means diddly squat to me. She is my big sister either way. Little Flower walked toward Human King and proceeded to say, even if she was not my sister, I would not allow her beautiful smile to be taken away by a wretched man like you. By the way, let me say this again. Get your dirty hands off her. After that, Little Flower threw a punch toward Human King. A scary, whole power gathered up on the fist and became extremely bright. In that case, I have no choice. You guys have my blood. I was going to give you guys a chance, but it looks like you guys do not cherish my generosity. Human King's hands grabbed Han Linger. Another hand clutched a fist. He punched toward Little Flower's fist. So, I will now show you the meaning of real power. The black crystal armor had been burned by the golden door's gold light, but the power that was released was still incredible. The Geno prototype armor's power had all the miraculous facets of life's genes. Having the Geno prototype armor meant one could use all sorts of life powers. It could make all the life genes evolve, so they could also destroy and break all the genes. Human King's punch had the Geno prototype armor's power. Under the black fist, everything was dissolved and broken. Even the soul ended up becoming the most primitive of substances. Two fists were now set to collide in a cosmic display of force and power. One of them was black like demonic coal, whereas the other was sparkling white with a holy incandescence. There were two fists. They were on a crash course with each other, and crash into each other they surely did. But this dizzying display did not create a spellbinding spectacle to respect and admire in all awe. The scene that was created by these two fists going against each other was actually rather weird. Wherever the black light was, it dissolved and broke. Wherever the white light was, the dissolved substances were reborn. Two fists of opposing light struck each other, but there was no explosion. The scene that was created was even scarier than an explosion. Human King's face changed. He had consumed Qin Shou's body and soul. Although he had not finished combining, he was already invincible. Even Crepe Myrtle, the leader of the universe, was not stronger than him. Amidst the two black and white colliding punches, Little Flower's white fist and light were able to suppress the black fist light. Inch by inch, it went toward Human King. The white light area became bigger and bigger while the black light's area became smaller and smaller. Human King's eyes shook. He could not believe Little Flower's power had reached such a level. Impossible. He is just a mixed air of some crystallizer. How could he have possibly managed to walk that step? Upon seeing the suppressing white light inside the white light, it was like a new world. Human King's heart was wrought with confusion. He could not grasp an answer. Pang! Human King's body was shaken back as he was thrown away. Little Flower's advance still went on. Human King was shocked. The black crystal armor on his hand was a spirit. The black fist changed. It became a black and gray light. The black and gray light beam could cut through anything. It cut open Little Flower's white fist of light. It flashed past the zone of white light. Little Flower was burning with white light. The black light cut it open, and the body was cut in half. You are strong, but no matter how strong you are just my heir. When Human King saw the body get cut in half, Little Flower's body was falling in two different ways. Ji and Ran was watching. She could not speak. When she saw it, she almost fainted and collapsed. In the next second, she saw Little Flower's body, which had been cut in half, get pulled back together by some strange power. It was recomposed into one being like he had never been hurt in the first place. Little Flower moved his limbs. He calmly looked at Human King and said, "Let's not say I do not know if you are the real human alpha, but even if you are, according to the universe's evolution rules, the new generations are always stronger than the last. You should have been kicked away by now." Human King frowned. He could not completely combine with the Geno prototype armor and reboot class power, but the damage earlier was the very first combination. Even Crepe Myrtle wouldn't use a god body to attack. If the god body was damaged, it would be hard to recover. Little Flower's body had been cut open by his universe powers, yet he could still heal. That surprised Human King a fair bit. "Your family has never failed to surprise me," Human King said to Little Flower as he looked at him. He still had a bit of a murderous look in his eyes. "If you guys hand over Bower now, I will pretend none of this ever happened. Then, I can make you a student of Blood Legion. In the future, you might be able to become Blood Legion's leader." He thought Bower was the one he needed to get rid of, but he now knew that in the Han Sen family, Bower was not the only one who posed a threat to him. Little Flower's power was good enough to go against half the elites of the universe and make them all tremble. "It does not matter if you are Blood Legion or not. I am not interested. I will tell you one more time. Let go of my sister." Little Flower's fist blazed with a white flame once more. "I gave you a chance," Human King said. The black crystal armor around his hand turned into a spirit again. He threw a punch toward Little Flower. Little Flower's chest was punctured by the fist, but he immediately recovered. His steps to go to Human King did not stop. Human King frowned. He punched Little Flower without stopping. No matter how Little Flower was injured, he recovered. Human King's universe powers could not destroy Little Flower's body. What kind of power is this? Human King's eyes looked like blades. He stared at Little Flower, who was now looking like an angel. He clearly saw that the light shadow power could affect Little Flower's body, but the universe's power cut the angel light. It did not hurt the light, though. It was like the light did not even exist. It looked incredibly weird. With Human King's power, even if the light shadow was a god spirit, his universe powers should have been able to destroy it. It was like his power could affect the super god spirit mode of Han Linger. But Little Flower's angel light was not affected by him. Human King could not understand what that light shadow was. Seeing Little Flower was already in front of him, the punch was now coming toward his face. Human King moved his eyes. His other hand lifted up Han Linger's body to put her before Little Flower's fist. Human King only wanted to stop Little Flower. He really did not plan on using Han Linger as a meat shield to block Little Flower's fist. Who would have known Little Flower's fist was not going to stop at all? It hit Han Linger's belly. Han Linger's belly glowed with white light. Little Flower's body had the shadow of an angel. With that punch, it went right through Han Linger's body. Pang! Human King grabbed Han Linger's hand. He was blasted away by huge power, and it made him stumble back a little. "I forgot to tell you that my super god spirit body's name is called Holy Spirit Protect. Just like my faith, it exists to protect others." Little Flower pulled back his fist. He looked at Han Linger. Han Linger's spirit body had become a super god spirit body. After combining with the Holy Spirit, she immediately grew up. From a little girl, she became an adult woman. The back of her wings spread gloriously. Her white, long hair was like a waterfall of spirit light that was cascading and imbuing its glow on everything. She looked very holy. "How dare you bully my big brother, little flower? I will kill you for this." Han Linger's body had become bigger, but her thoughts never changed. She was still the Han Linger of the past. Little Flower's Holy Spirit Protect was only for protection. It would not change the behavior of the person who was being protected. It would only bolster the resolve of their faith and their mind. It did not matter if the person being protected had a mind that was good or bad. They would be protected either way. That was because love could exist regardless of whether or not a person was good or evil. Human King looked at the very angry Han Linger. He wished to say something, but a spirit light flashed. Han Linger was already in front of him, and her fist was already put to his jaw. Boom! Human King's body was like a rocket flying away. He coughed up a lot of blood, and his soul was well shaken. He was going to be a very broken man. How is that possible? Human King shot through space. His pupils minimized as much as they could. He could not believe Han Linger was so fast that his own body could not react to her assault. Human King's rule powers covered Space Garden, but Han Linger's punch broke it. The people who were previously frozen in space, including those from the God Chaos Party and Space Garden factions, were set free. After they were set free, they merely stared into space with a petrified look. They saw Han Linger, who was like a holy spirit, move to madly beat up Human King. Because Han Linger was so young, she had never practiced with Geno arts before. Usually, the best she would do was learn a few leg and fist fighting skills. Now, as Han Linger went crazy, she was mainly using her fists and her legs to pummel her foe. Her skills were basic. They could not be any more basic. She would unleash a straight punch, a hook punch, and a side punch, the most basic of basic. Her leg skills were so basic that a 3-year-old could learn them. But that kind of simple punching and leg skills were beating up Human King in space, strike after strike, all without reprieve. Human King's head and body were being punched by Han Linger's fists and leg. Human King was like a Matryoshka doll swinging around in space. His pretty face was beaten and gnarled to the point he looked like a pig. His eyes, nose, and mouth were all oozing blood. Katja, the black crystal armor, which was already burned, had a big chunk fall off due to the sheer force of Han Linger's punch. Everyone was shocked. This was Human King they were witnessing. He was an invincible existence that commanded the 33 skies. It only took one of his punches to destroy the world. He was the type of existence that could make the Geno Hall leader not want to tango with him. No one could believe Human King was being brutally pummeled by Han Linger in such a fashion. This is our new leader. Ichi was looking at Human King being beat like so, but he failed to believe his eyes. Oh my god, is that really little Linger? Tang Junliu was so shocked that he screamed. What little Linger? That is my goddess, okay? Space Garden was very happy about this development. Human King was very shocked and angry about what was happening. He tried to use many different Geno arts. It did not matter if it was a time and space Geno art because, before Han Linger, no type of Geno art seemed to work. The pure and holy power she wielded seemed to erase everything in its path. To say it straight, she was simply violent. Her pure power crushed everything. Even reboot-class Geno arts were pointless before someone like Han Linger. Human King had put half a step forward to reach universe class. He had some universal power, but it was still being beaten by Han Linger's fists and legs. It was like it was not the most powerful universe power after all, and all he had been using was just glass. The power unleashed shocked his soul. If it was not for his soul being powerful, the souls of ordinary creatures would break after one measly punch. Impossible. Impossible. Human King could not accept the result. He had been brooding for more than a few years. He had put a lot of effort into cultivating a pure blood pulse for every generation, so that his body could be purified. He had managed to eliminate every bad crystallizer gene in his body. All he had left was World King Gods and Qin Shio's powerful genes. He was supposed to have become the most powerful existence in all the world. Now, he had rudely found out the two mixed kids, whom he believed had bad genes, could cooperate to release a power that well and truly shocked him. He could not accept any of this. That failure was harder to accept than being beaten. The mixed kids he thought had bad genes were frighteningly strong. All of his years of practice had been rendered pointless. It was all for nothing. All of his sacrifices for Blood Legion had been in vain. No, my path is the correct one. My genes are the strongest ones. I just need to take that step. If I walk that step, I will be stronger than her. Human King's eyes looked purple. He was holding his body, which was being beaten by Han Linger. He changed positions. Han Linger's body was very strong, but she was only just a child. Her mind was not like Human King. Human King's chest received a punch. It sounded as if something had broken. A bloody hole manifested inside his chest. His strong body could not withstand Han Linger's fist. The chest and heart inside were exposed. It was all bloody. When Han Linger saw it, she was given a shock. She was just a child, and she had never hurt anyone else before. At that moment, Human King's body vanished. Oh no! Little Flower reacted first. He raced to Ji Yanran, but his Holy Spirit body had been combined with Han Linger. It was too late for him to go back. He was weak. Before he could even reach Ji Yanran, Human King was behind Ji Yanran. He grabbed Ji Yanran's neck while the other hand punched Little Flower away. Asshole! Let go of my mother! Han Linger was furious. She flashed before Human King with a desire to destroy his face. Human King lifted Ji Yanran. He blocked before Han Linger could pull her fist back. Human King swung another hand, making a gray and black universe power blow up Han Linger. It blasted Han Linger's body away. Obscene! You are shameless! Tang Junliu and all the others were shocked and angry. Even the many scary creatures of God Chaos Party looked poorly on this. They had done this before, but he was the God Chaos Party leader. To see him do this in front of everyone else in the world looked ugly. Human King grabbed Ji Yanran's hands. Black and gray light was released. It was like many mysterious spells created a chain that ensnared Ji Yanran's body. Han Linger jumped up off the ground. She wanted to attack Human King again. Before she could do anything, Human King said, "Right now, her life is connected to mine. If I am hurt, she will suffer too. If you are not afraid of her dying alongside me, then I dare you to try and harm her." You, obscene! Han Linger was so mad and angry, but she did not actually do anything. Kid, this is an adult world. It is dirtier than you think. Human King's face did not change. He tightened the grasp of his fingers. It made the trapping spell he had put on Ji Yanran hold her with greater force. Ji Yanran looked as if she was suffocating. Let go of my mother. Han Linger was furious, but she did not dare rush forward. She was so small. Her mind was still not mature enough to fight Human King. Although she had a powerful power, she could not fight someone like Human King. Human King ignored her. He turned to Little Flower and said, "I will count to 3. Take back your Holy Spirit. Otherwise, I will erase her from existence. Soul and body, it will all be gone. 1, 2, 3. Human King did not stop. He counted to 3. His hands were going to close completely. Hang on. Han Little Flower screamed, but Human King did not stop. Han Little Flower was so shocked that he put away his Holy Spirit protect and madly shouted, "Human King, if you dare to hurt her, I will kill you." Human King's body finally stopped. He coldly said, "Young man, talking crap will only make you look like a useless human being. Do not say anything that is out of your power to control." When the Holy Spirit protect was taken away by Little Flower, Han Linger's form, which looked like an angel, receded. She returned to looking like a child again. Her power was reduced. Now, there was no hope of her fighting back against Human King. With the combined powers of the brother and sister, they had managed to suppress Human King. When their powers split up, neither of them could fight against him. Han Little Flower was still able to fight against Human King a little, but his Holy Spirit protect needed to be used on someone to maximize the power. Using it alone was not very strong. It would not pose a big threat to Human King. Seeing Han Linger return to her original self, Human King wanted to kill her. The universe power generated once more and struck Han Linger fiercely. He wanted to kill Han Linger to erase the threat she posed. His head was very clear. Killing Han Little Flower would prove difficult. and Han Little Flower had the Holy Spirit Protect, which was something that required other people to make it powerful. Holy Spirit Protect's power was undeniably strong. If the person being protected was not strong, the Holy Spirit Protect would not be strong either. Han Linger's and Han Little Flower's Holy Spirit Protect was the scariest. Only one of them had to be removed. Now, he had greatly offended Han Sen's family. It did not matter if he killed a daughter of the Han family. Compared to the leader of the universe, killing an heir was practically nothing. Human King practiced with the Blood Pulse Sutra. He had absorbed the blood pulse of Blood Legion members from every single generation. That was how he was able to purify his blood. It was unknown how many members had been sacrificed to make him the man he was now. He was not like some soft man who was incapable of making a decision. Linger. Little Flower saw Human King's murderous visage and swapped space to block Linger from the power. He exploded his Holy Spirit power to throw a punch at Human King's incoming universe power. Seeing two powers about to collide, Human King lifted Ji Yanran in front. This time, Human King was not going to make the same mistake. He put Ji Yanran in front, but he did not let Little Flower's power be allowed to touch Ji Yanran. His power was going to blow up Ji Yanran's body. If you want her to live, be honest with me, Human King coldly said. Little Flower had to put his power away. Otherwise, his punch would end up blowing up Ji Yanran's body before he could even reach Human King. Little Flower withdrew his power. Human King's universe power struck Little Flower and made him fly away. Although there was the Holy Spirit Protect power going with him, which meant Little Flower would not be killed, when Little Flower left, Linger was exposed. Human King did not hesitate. He used that opportunity to generate a finger. He pointed at Han Linger's forehead with the desire to break her spirit body. Linger, Ji Yanran and Han Little Flower felt bad. They wanted to use their bodies to block the strike that was about to fall on Han Linger. Ji Yanran could not move. Han Little Flower wanted to teleport back, but it was too late. Huang Fujing and Tang Xinliu were very angry witnessing this, but they were not even as fast as Han Little Flower. They would be unable to carry out a rescue. While everyone was in shock seeing Han Linger's body about to be punched by Human King's universe powers, there was suddenly a flash. A small body appeared in front of Han Linger. It came with gold light. Human King's universe power went against that brilliant gold light. It was like wine pouring into a bottle. It simply vanished. Bauer, Sister Bauer. When everyone saw this shadow arrive, they were all just as happy as they were shocked. Han Linger and Han Little Flower were very happy. They all called her Big Sister. Bauer was clutching a little gold gourd. She stared at Human King. She used her gourd to take away Human King's universe power. Far away in the forest, Chaos stood atop the pinnacle of a tall tree. She looked down at Bauer and seemed conflicted. Bauer had not succeeded in combining with the super god gene seed yet, so it was very risky of her to try and battle Human King now. She did not want this to happen, but Bauer went there by her own volition, and she had been powerless to try and stop her. With Human King showing up in Space Garden, of all places, she was a bit confused. She had spent all her time in the sanctuaries, so she had not learned about Qin Xiu being consumed by Human King. How dare you hurt my mother? Bauer looked at Human King and spoke very slowly. Human King grabbed Ji Yanran and coldly said, "It is good that you are here. The whole family has been fighting me, so now I will have the chance to erase you all. You should be the one who dies." Bauer rarely got mad, but now she was blisteringly furious. She lifted the gourd and aimed at Human King. Human King grabbed Ji Yanran and coldly said, "If you want her to die, then do it." Bauer behaved as if she did not hear anything. She held the gold gourd with its bottom facing the sky. The gourd faced Human King. She patted the gourd. It made the little gold gourd shine with gold. A beam of gold came out of it, firing toward Human King like a laser. Sister Bauer, don't do it. Little Flower and Linger were in shock. Human King had already learned his lesson from Han Little Flower. He was not going to allow Little Flower's power to touch Ji Yanran. He put his hand back and pulled Ji Yanran away. The spell that had bound Ji Yanran became tighter. It was digging into her skin and looked ready to break her body. Bauer's eyes looked cold. The little gold gourd in her hands was not going away. She coldly shouted, "Mother!" Come back. Human King felt bad about this. He used rule powers to cloak the skies and then suddenly felt emptiness. Ji Yin ran, who had been grabbed by him, had been sucked toward the gold little gourd with the magical spell chain that had kept her in wraps. Human King's face changed. Let's not say this was purely because of Bao's power, but even Han Littleflower and Han Linger had beaten him up when they cooperated. He turned around, wanting to do nothing more than escape. Are you attempting to escape now? Isn't that just a bit too late? Bao grunted coldly. She used the little gourd to shine on Human King. Space suddenly started to swirl. A gourd was at the center of the swirl. Human King gathered up universe power. He was unable to teleport away. The whole of space, all of its rules and orders, were disturbed by the presence of that gourd. Human King was unable to his own rules powers to move and shift things. He used his universe powers to fight back against the force of suction. No matter what he tried, he could not escape and fly away from the suck. Bad man, where are you going to go now? Han Linger shouted. Her body had combined with Han Littleflower's holy spirit. She was going toward Human King, who was currently in space. Bao's little gourd power was weird. Her force of suction only seemed to work on Human King. It did not affect anyone else. Han Linger was not affected in the slightest, so she ran in front of Human King and gave him a big punch in the face. Human King was not capable of beating Linger, who had Holy Spirit protect keeping her safe. His body was trapped by the godly force of suction. Nothing he did granted him escape, so Linger punched him in the face. Human King's face twisted as his body leaned back. Because he had been sucked by the little gourd, he could not fly away. He had to remain precisely where he was. Linger was furious. A fist and a leg were moving. They beat against Human King as if he was a doll. He moved left and right in response. Bit by bit, the Geno prototype armor shattered more and more as time went by. Chaos was watching this unfold. She was frozen in sheer disbelief. What is going on? Why is her power no worse than this guy, who is half a step away from achieving universe class, or perhaps even better? Is this as far as a mixed human can go? Chaos thought. Seeing that his god body was going to shatter, Human King was becoming very angry. After he consumed Qin Xiu, his power kept fading. Even the Geno god base needed to be avoided. He did not expect his heirs would provide him with so much trouble. His heart jumped. Space around started to rumble. It was like there was a giant space tsunami. The whole of space and Space Garden created big space movements. Every substance and creature became distorted. Their bodies all became weird. The area that had shaking space came out from a giant stone tablet. It was the Geno tablet. Seeing the Geno tablet's light spell spin, it was like a giant calculator was calculating something. All of the light symbols kept flickering across it. Ever since the Geno tablet had appeared, Human King, who had been restricted, had his spirit light glow brighter. Originally, it was just his hand that had a spirit body. With the buffing of the Geno tablet, his body and the black crystal armor started to adopt a spirit-like appearance. Pang! Human King and Han Linger punched each other. The former failed to shake off Han Linger, but it was not like before where he was getting dominated. Bao's face changed. Human King's body flew up. He escaped the gourd's force of suction. The Geno tablet struck the Space Garden. All of Space Garden and space around looked as if it was under the pressure of the Geno tablet. The creatures that were not yet break world class were pushed down onto the ground by the Geno tablet's rule power. They were unable to move. Han Linger attacked Human King again, but Human King's spirit body was able to fight against Han Linger's speed and power. It was becoming easier and easier to block. He was no longer suppressed by the violent Han Linger.
Han Linger, come back.
Bao looked glum as she yelled at Han Linger. Han Linger was very young. When she saw Human King was capable of blocking her attacks, she became a little scared. She heard Bao calling out to her, which was what prompted her to fall back. I am the leader of the Geno tablet. I can suppress the entire universe. You have some power, but you do not have enough to defeat the likes of me. Human King's body was clad in the broken Geno prototype armor. When he was a spirit, it recovered. It wrapped up Human King's body to look like new. Human King is using the Geno tablet's power. It looks like he is going to be able to make that step. Chaos was watching all of this unfold from afar. She was primarily concerned about the safety of Bauer. Human King was going to take that step any second now, but Bauer only needed some fire. She could not really fight him. Human King stood in front of the Geno tablet as a sky full of god light protected his god body. People were able to see there were two bolts of lightning striking each other. Bauer's eyes were filled with gold. She fired two gold lights at him. With Human King's vision hitting her lights, two scary powers exploded between them. Space collapsed. Time and light collapsed. It created a weird hole. It looked like it was there, but it was not there. It looked like a giant, empty hole. It is no wonder why this is God Chaos Party and the Geno Hall leader's heir. If you walk that step, I will have to fight you with my power. Human King's long purple hair went straight. It was flying with the black and gray universe power. The black and gray universe power started to turn purple. The Geno tablet and Human King's power shone on each other. They were covered in purple light. It was like a mysterious tablet from ancient times was landing there. When the power of Human King and the Geno tablet changed, Human King's Geno prototype armor became like melting ice. It simply became juice that was absorbed by Human King's body. Human King's perfect god body was now on display in front of everybody. Every inch of his body was releasing a mysterious and powerful purple light. That light did not seem to fit in with the universe's rules and order. It made the rules of the universe isolate from his body. It put Human King's body in a blur. It did not look real. It was like a layer of matte glass. He walked that step. Chaos's heart jumped. Even though she knew this was going to happen, she was still nervous about it actually happening. With the old leaders and her blood, combined with the aid of the Geno tablet, it would be strange if he had not been able to take that last step. What made Chaos sad was that Human King had great difficulty breaking through that step. Yet, Bauer's and Linger's suppression was the catalyst for making him finally make that step. He made it. His body was now looking weird. Human King was glowing with a mysterious and purple light. Bauer could not help but frown. She looked at Human King and said to Little Flower, "Little Flower, let me use your Holy Spirit." Little Flower heard the command. He put away his Holy Spirit Protect to disable its presence on Han Linger. He teleported in front of Bauer and reached out his hand, trying to put the Holy Spirit Protect on her body. After thinking for a moment, Chaos said, "Han Little Flower's power is certainly weird. That weird spirit body power is similar to the power of a god spirit, but it is different. It looks like it brushes against the edge of a universe-class force. His powers might be what is last required to push past the final barrier and have her combine with the super god gene seed. That way, she might be able to take that final step too. Fighting Human King now might be a good idea after all." She was, however, still a bit worried. In the past, Qin Xiu gave up his body. There was no third person adjoined. The pure, Geno prototype armor combined with reboot blood produced a flaw. Now, Human King's body was fully composed, and it erased the presence of a flaw. Without error, he had managed to walk that last step perfectly. Bauer's and Human King's power were still similar, though. It meant that it was hard to suspect which of the pair might win. Seeing Little Flower's hand touch Bauer, suddenly, a purple blur of a shadow flashed. Human King appeared in front of Little Flower with the image of a blurry fist shadow. Little Flower was shocked by its sudden appearance, but he had developed into a man of much resolve. He was not going to shy away from a battle such as this, and he was not going to bow and be put off by the blurry shadow fist that was coming for him. He stood tall and proud and raised a fist of his own. He raised it to welcome the incoming attack, and welcome it he did. What resulted from the two terrible collisions was a massive explosion of white spirit light. Boom! Little Flower's fist broke alongside the white spirit light. His body was like a cannonball that had been fired. He flew into Space Garden's forest. It rendered the forest half-broken. Wang Yuhang and the others were all shocked. Little Flower had learned his super god spirit body, and it was clear to see his power was amongst the greatest in the universe. Even so, he was still unable to block Human King's punch. It was difficult to imagine how scary that punch must have been. Blurg. Under the Holy Spirit Protect, Little Flower was still wounded enough to end up heaving up blood. His fist and bones were broken. The power of the Holy Spirit protect was not enough to make his broken knuckles recover. His wound, furthermore, was tainted by a purple air. Bauer was holding the gold gourd. She released a gold light. The gold gourd created a resonance that shone at Human King. Human King stood within the gold light, but it did not look like he wanted to dodge anything. Now, the suction was stronger than it was before. When it shone on Human King, it was absolutely nothing. It was like countless golden threads of silk were surrounding him, tugging at his body. It was like they wanted to snare Human King and drag him into an abyss, but Human King's body was like a mountain that could not be moved. This is the real power. It is something that can fight back against the universe itself. Human King ignored Bauer. He clenched his fist to feel the powerful power he now possessed. Bauer looked gloomy about it all, but the luminosity of the golden light did not falter. It became stronger. When the golden light shone, everything was sucked into the gourd. Only Human King's body did not move. He was unable to be budged. Little Flower had been delivered a terrible strike, and much pain was brought with it. With a muster of strength, he had to hold up his own inured body. He was going to stay on his feet. He climbed out of the ruins and teleported over to Little Flower again. He wanted to give his Holy Spirit to her. Human King did not want Bauer to combine with the Holy Spirit. He moved quickly. The gourd's gold light could not stop him. He came before Little Flower. This time, he punched Little Flower in the chest. The punch perforated Little Flower's entire chest. Little Flower was left bleeding, but he looked happy. The Holy Spirit left his body and flew to Bauer from another direction. He had only lured Human King there, so the Holy Spirit could be delivered to Bauer. Seeing the Holy Spirit almost come before Bauer, Human King's body vanished. In the next second, his hand grabbed that holy-looking angel spirit. Suggesting it was a grab was not quite right. It was the purple mist around his hands that wrapped around the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit that could not be damaged had been grabbed by Human King. Your little tricks are useless before real power. I am the universe. That means I am the whole universe. You are just a creature that exists in the universe. No matter how strong or how brave you display your universe powers, can you actually hope to fight against real universe-class powers? Human King grabbed the Holy Spirit. His 5 fingers applied a throttling strength to deploy a powerful power that could destroy the Holy Spirit. Blurg. Little Flower's chest was punctured through. He was already injured, but now his spirit body had been broken. He was bleeding profusely. He was dying on the ground. Little Flower, my big brother.
Handlingar ran before Little Flower.
She held Little Flower and gave her spirit power into his body. She wanted to do her best to save him. When her spirit power touched Little Flower's wounds, a purple mist exploded. It could not enter Little Flower's body. You. Damn you, Bauer's eyes looked cold. She put her gourd away. The gourd landed on her forehead. It became a gold glassy liquid that covered Bauer's entire small body. It became a golden armor that wrapped her up. When Chaos saw Bauer combine with her gourd, she looked worried. Bauer's combination level was not 100%. She had not yet taken that last step. She was not an opponent who could rival Human King just yet. But Bauer was not planning on backing down. Her gold body flashed. She went in front of Human King like a golden bolt of lightning that flickered around Human King to make many golden shadows. That was merely because Bauer was now extremely fast. Not even the elites of the universe could follow her body. Human King was in space. He did not move. He moved his arm and blocked all of Bauer's attacks. If she has not walked that step, it will not work. Chaos shook her head. She was thinking of a way in which she might be able to grab Bauer and escape. To fight on this day was a lost cause. She had to think of a way in which she could grab Bauer and escape. Only after Bauer combined completely could she fight. Human King saw the absolute benefit he now had. Bauer's power was not a threat to him, but Human King was not entirely satisfied. He was a very careful person. If he was already in control of the stage, he would not allow any actors to remain if he did not want them. In the next second, Human King's power exploded. The punching power made the universe itself quiver and shake. It seemed to destroy everything. Substance chains and rules were torn apart. Everything was like paper before the might of that fierce power. Facing the scary power, Bauer's face looked different. She put a pair of sunglasses on her face. In the next moment, something weird happened. Bauer's body suddenly looked like Human King. It was like two human kings were standing across from each other. Boom! Bauer had become Human King. Without waiting around, she unleashed a punch. With Human King's punching power being the same as her foe, an equal situation was established. Human King was shocked. He did not know what Bauer's sunglasses were, but they had made Bauer look just like him. She did not only look like him either. They also shared the same power. Before Human King could think straight, Bauer began her assault. The power she exploded with was identical to Human King's. The universe power and elements she used were exactly the same. Two Human Kings were now fighting each other, and no one could tell who was who. They did not know which Human King they should be worrying about. I do not believe you can really copy a universe-class power. Human King did not believe Bauer could really copy a universe-class power. He went closer to her, wanting to see just how well Bauer could copy his talents. The two of their powers did not seem so strong. It seemed to depend on their bodies. The blurry purple was not so sharp after all. Where their powers could hurt was in dealing damage that could guarantee the other would not recover. In space, there was a purple crack. It appeared to be permanent. Even though the universe could fix itself, the crack did not go away. Ordinary elites would not be able to discern their movements. They saw two blurry, purple shadows fighting in the universe. Only a few of them were able to watch the pair conduct their combat. Linger, how is Little Flower? Wang Yuehang and the others came before Little Flower, who was dying and currently passed out. The bloody hole in his chest did not stop gushing. Everyone tried using their powers to heal Little Flower. When their powers landed on Little Flower, they were always blasted away by the purple mist. They were unable to make Little Flower better. All they could do was make the unconscious Little Flower frown. Damn it, Tang Jinliu madly said. Where is Sanmu? If he does not come back, his biological son is going to die because of his recent pummeling. He was not blaming Han Sen, of course. He just wanted to release his anger for being completely useless. Step aside. Don't do anything if you do not know how to heal him. Give Little Flower to me. Han Yufei approached the fallen son. Upon seeing her arrival, everyone stepped away. She inspected Little Flower. In the Geno Hall, Crepe Myrtle and the God Spirits were all watching Bauer compete with Human King, God Hall leader. Bauer is not universe class yet, but she is still able to simulate the universe powers, like Goddess said. She was clearly in shock. What is going on here? Is that really because of the sunglasses she is wearing? Crepe Myrtle looked strange as he said, If I am not mistaken, those sunglasses belong to the old leader. I did not know the sunglasses were able to do such a thing. Did that really happen? Light Goddess and the other God Spirits looked over there. They really did look like the sunglasses the old leader used to wear. Just like Crepe Myrtle didn't know. No one else knew the sunglasses possessed a power like that. Moment God did not really understand the fight that was happening, so she said, with exactly the same body type and power, I believe Bauer can defeat Human King. According to theory, anyone can be a victor. With the same body and the same power, the one with the original form should be better. But Human King's body has combined with the body and soul of Qin Shtou. He has only just reached universe class. He is undoubtedly still learning it. It is hard for us to discern which between them might be the winner. While they were talking, Crepe Myrtle watched them fight in space. He lifted a wry smile and said, No matter which of the pair wins this fight, the damage done to the universe can likely not be recovered. Now, the universe will only be given more holes. Chaos looked at the fight strangely. She knew the sunglasses belonged to the old leader. The old leader used to wear them a lot before he suddenly stopped wearing them. It was just a pair of sunglasses, so she did not realize it at first. Now, she was able to notice it was the same pair of sunglasses that were on Bauer. Those sunglasses possessed a frightening sort of power. They were able to simulate universe-class powers. Chaos did not expect this sort of development. Chaos and Crepe Myrtle were able to tell the difference between Bauer and Human King. They were really happy about the way things were turning out. Moon God was watching this fight too. Even though she was really powerful, She was unable to discern the fighters with clarity. She asked Tai, "What is going on?" "Bauer has pulled an advantage," Tai said. "It looks like the old leader and the God Chaos Party's old leader's real daughter is stronger," Moon God said. "After all, her genes are bound to be better than Human King, who was always just a byproduct." "Poor Human King for going through all that." Tai said, "Bauer is still going to lose." "Why?" Moon God asked him with shock. "After all, she is not really universe class," Tai said. "She uses the glasses to simulate Human King. That must cost her a lot of power. She will not last too long in such a state. In that case, what can be done? The Geno Hall has not yet made a move. That guy Crepe Myrtle is not going to help Bauer fight Human King. Will the Geno Hall merrily go down with her? Does the old man not even understand that?" Moon God frowned. "He understands the stakes more than anyone, but he also understands who emerges victorious," Tai said. "Even people like him and I still require another half a step to walk forward. We cannot fight the real universe-class opponents. To go out there now is not far off committing suicide. So, is he just going to sit on his bum and do nothing at all to help things?" Moon God was not very happy about this. "Of course, he will need to do something in time," Tai said. "What he needs to do is not fight Human King directly. He needs to be prepared to open the universe." "Reboot the universe?" Moon God asked with shock. "Yes, reboot the universe in the event Bauer loses," Tai said. "That will be his last resort for stopping Human King. It is still hard to say whether or not that trick will work, though. After all, Human King's body does possess reboot blood. The rebooting of the universe might not even work on him." Moon God remained silent. She did not say a word. If Tai said Crepe Myrtle fighting Human King was pointless, then it was pointless. Now, they needed to pray Bauer did not lose. Human King could not believe he was being suppressed by Bauer. It was only just Bauer simulating his body and power, but when they fought, he seemed to be losing. Bauer was better at using his powers than he was. It was as if she had been born with the powers. Pang! Human King's universe powers ripped. Bauer's hands were like knives that went through his chest. His chest was delivered a long wound. Winning. Chaos's heart jumped. In the next second, her hopes were sapped by a bottomless abyss. After that slash, Bauer should have been able to catch up. She should have been able to suppress Human King and kill him. Who would have thought at this moment Bauer would return from her Human King mode and revert into the shape and form of a child? Her face was still wearing the sunglasses, but the sunglasses were no longer shiny. It also looked as if her body had just been brought out of the water. Her face was so pale that it looked as if she was going to fall over any time soon. From her weakened state, one could tell she had exhausted far too much of her strength. Human King was extremely happy about this, and he was not going to sit around hesitating what to do next. He used all the power he could to punch the weakened Bauer. The purple power carried a lonely light that destroyed everything. It came directly in front of Bauer. Bauer was too tired. She was unable to avoid the punch that was to come. "Don't do it." Han Linger and Chaos screamed together, but they couldn't do anything about it. Bauer's and Human King's fight had already left the area of Space Garden. Seeing Human King's universe power was about to strike Bauer, the worst was feared. Suddenly, the power was frozen in the air. It was like it had been frozen. It stopped 3 feet away from Bauer. Everyone was very happy. They thought Han Sen had returned, but what they saw was not that. It appeared as if nothing or no one had stopped Human King. He was holding his punching stance when he just lowered his head. His body shivered in place. Very embarrassing. A voice came out of Human King's mouth. This voice, however, was completely different from what it was before. Everyone was shocked and unsure about what had just happened. They then heard Human King's voice. That voice sounded shocked. The vocal cords trembled. "You. How could you?" There was no denying that it was now Human King who was speaking. It was certainly his voice, but the tone and delivery of his words did not exude the confidence they did before. It was now different. It sounded like Human King was afraid. "I was going to wait a while until the body and the soul had completely combined before taking back control of the body, but your behavior made me feel great shame far before I wanted to take the body. I am afraid I will just have to take back control of the body now." The proud and cold voice sounded again. Now that everyone could hear it, they knew it was coming from Human King's mouth, but it was not Human King who was actually doing the speaking. Qin Xiu, Mr. In God Chaos Party, some creatures recognized whose voice belonged to Qin Xiu. I cannot believe it. This has to be the greatest plot twist in the history of the universe. He is still alive? Wow. Chaos and Crepe Myrtle were shocked by this development. Human King's voice said while shaking, "This body is mine. You silly fool. You cannot take it from me. You thought you could, but that was your own delusion. I merely let you continue believing. You see, my body and soul are a perfect match. Now, your soggy soul is broken, and it has been absorbed by me. You cannot fight me, no matter how much you might wish to. Does that even matter?" After Qin Xiu said that, Human King's body and purple hair went straight. It was flying into the sky with a purple light. Human King's head was raised. His eyes had 4 pupils. In one eye, 2 pupils were morphing. One of the purple pupils was becoming bigger than the other while the other pupil became smaller. "No. Impossible," Human King cried aloud from his mouth. There were only 2 pupils left in his eyes. His body seemed to exhibit great differences. For some reason, he was looking like a completely different person. The presence of that person changed to become one of extreme might. It was the same body, but the presence had changed. It gave people a different impression and feeling of it. Leader, many Blood Legion members had witnessed this scene. Their faces looked gray after what happened. They were not sure what was going on. Human King, who had once absorbed Qin Xiu's body, was now being taken over. In reverse, Qin Xiu was the one to take over and refine the soul. Chaos and Crepe Myrtle did not look particularly happy about this. Human King was strong, but his power came from other people. He had not gotten used to the powers within him yet, and his mind had a problem too. If Human King had taken over his body when Bauer made that step, she could have beaten him. If that body's master became Qin Xiu, Bauer's chance of winning was low. Qin Xiu looked at Bauer and walked over to her. "Do not hurt my big sister." Han Linger was still rushing over. She was now in front of Bauer. She opened her hands in front of Bauer and madly looked at Qin Xiu. Qin Xiu smiled. "You are Han Linger, right?" "I am Han Linger. So what?" Han Linger looked at Qin Xiu, but she felt a bit scared. "Not bad," Qin Xiu said. "With your potential, if you grow up and level up your body to the max, you can definitely take that step. In this universe, it is hard to find people who are stronger than you." "It is good you know how powerful I am," Han Linger said. "Have you not heard about Big Sister Bauer? You are too young now. I cannot wait for you to grow up." After Qin Xiu said that, he reached his hands out. It was like Han Linger's body was being pulled away by an invisible sort of suction. She landed in Qin Xiu's hands. He rolled her up in his sleeves. "Let go of Linger." Although Huang Fujing, Wang Yuhang, and the others knew they were weak, they still raced over. Qin Xiu's eyes froze in place. Time and space seemed to have stopped. Everyone's bodies froze. It was like they could not move at all. "I am not Human King," Qin Xiu said. "I have no interest in killing a child." He then threw out his hands. Han Linger's body was tossed away. She quickly landed atop Huang Fujing, who could not currently move. Huang Fujing was able to control her body again. She carried Han Linger, who had fallen out of her spirit body mode. "Watch her. Right now, this is not her place to fight." Qin Xiu stopped looking at Huang Fujing and Han Linger. He walked over to Bauer. Bauer did not move. All she did was look at Qin Xiu. Earlier, she fought Human King. He was strong, but Bauer did not feel any pressure fighting him. Now facing Qin Xiu, Bauer could not help but feel a big amount of pressure inside her. "Bauer, go." Chaos's body broke space and arrived before her. She stood in front of Bauer and palmed her body. She wanted to put Bauer's body in space so she could more easily escape. Before her hands could touch Bauer, she felt as if her body had been restrained by a certain power. She could not move. Qin Xiu looked at Chaos and said, "Mr. Leader, to be fair, you are like a mother to me. I should thank you for granting me my life. If you think about old times so fondly, why don't you do me a favor and let Bauer go?" Chaos noticed her body was unable to move, and she was so shocked because of it. Universe class powers were far scarier than she thought they could be. In the past, Human King had not been able to use real universe class powers. Now, Qin Xiu had control of the body. He was showing the world the real power of what universe class individuals could do. Although Chaos has already lost most of her power and her body, trapping her should still not have been an easy feat yet. Qin Xiu had done it with ease. Qin Xiu looked at Chaos and coldly said, "I do not have the patience to wait. I am sorry, but I cannot let her leave." While he spoke, Qin Xiu pulled out his hands. Everyone thought he was going to do something to Bauer. He used a finger on his right hand to cut his left wrist. It led to purple crystal-like blood dropping out of the wound. It was blood, and those blood drops floated over to Bauer. "Drink this blood. It can help speed up your combining with the gene seed. I will be waiting for you." Qin Xiu made his wound keep bleeding. Everyone was shocked. No one expected Qin Xiu would behave this way. Compared to Human King, Qin Xiu was a madman. Qin Xiu brought everyone pressure, and he was much scarier than Human King. When Qin Xiu brought back his body, there was no killing behavior or anything soft. That scariness was silent, and it was spreading. It made Huang Fujing, Lin Feng, and the others feel cold without being cold. Their bodies were quaking incessantly. Bauer had not said a word ever since Qin Xiu returned. She looked at Chaos, Han Linger, and the others. She drank Qin Xiu's blood without hesitation. When she drank the blood, it was like Bauer's gold light was gas being ignited. It was burning with fire, and it was burning strong. Bauer's body was in some gold and bright light. She kept growing up. Her 5-year-old body was growing up very fast. She went from being a small kid to a teen, and from being a teen to becoming a full-blown young lady. Her pupils and long hair turned gold. She was wrapped up by a gold and crystal set of armor. She rather looked like a Valkyrie, so cold and high-level. That gold flame looked like it could destroy all the rules and orders of the world. One could not see through it. One could only see a high-class, gold shadow standing there. Bauer reached out her hand. Chaos, who was currently frozen in space, was pulled by her. She pushed towards Space Garden, sending Chaos back there. Qin Xiu did not stop Bauer from doing that. He merely watched her in total silence. "I am sorry you had to wait so long, but now we can start fighting." Bauer and her gold eyes looked at Qin Xiu. She spoke her words slowly, word by word. Qin Xiu did not speak. He casually stood aloft in space. He reached out his hand and raised it as if he was inviting Bauer to strike. Bauer gnashed her teeth. She was not going to play nice. She used her hand like a knife and unleashed a strike at Qin Xiu. With that knife, the sky and the ground seemed to be drawn by the knife. That was Han Sen's under the sky knife skill. That is Han Sen's under the sky knife skill. You have learned it quite well. Your proficiency with it is remarkably deep, but you are lacking some of its presence since you are only just a girl. A knife skill like this does not suit you. Qin Xiu reached out the hand. It seemed normal. It did not have any power, but it broke Bauer's knife skill. Bauer failed to cast it. She had to swap her skill. Bauer's knife skill changed. It was now like a fong that could crush everything. She was casting another one of Han Sen's skills that was called Teeth Knife. This knife skills is, admittedly, rather interesting. It is awfully evil too. It does not go well with your power element or mine though. When Qin Xiu waved his hand, he ended up breaking Bauer's skill. Bauer had only used her attack halfway before it was shattered. She already had to swap skills. Bauer quickly cast another 10 skills in sequence, but Qin Xiu managed to break each one of them. No skill she used actually worked against him. Many of them had to be changed out halfway. This skill is not bad, but it is simply not strong enough. You could be a lot crueler than this. This skill should be faster. This skill cannot be done too fast. You have to be slow with it. Qin Xiu casually used one hand to break Bauer's skills completely, one by one. He even pointed out every mistake Bauer made in the casting. The fight between Qin Xiu and Bauer was more like a senior teaching a junior than a death match. Qin Xiu only broke her skills. He did not attack her. He just broke all of her skills. Even though Bauer had reached universe class to be on par with Qin Xiu, it still looked as if there was a big difference between the pair. It was like a child competing with an adult. What does Qin Xiu want to do? Light Goddess was confused by his behavior. Anyone could tell that Qin Xiu was trying to help Bauer boost her power. With Bauer's talents and potential, it was known that if she was to make a mistake, she would never make it again. But Qin Xiu did not kill her. He only broke her attacks and went no further, and that was something that could make Bauer stronger. What a crazy and ignorant guy, Moment God coldly said. He could just end the fight, but he has made his opponent stronger to win. Qin Xiu's confidence was completely different from human kings. But this kind of fearless confidence made people feel more hopeless and scared than ever. Crepe Myrtle was a bit nervous about it all. He looked in the direction of the evolution wall and quietly said to himself, Bauer is just a kid, and she has always been taken care of by Han Sen. Her mind is still not very strong. I am afraid only Han Sen, a man who can fully control his body, can fight Qin Xiu in his current state. Han Sen needs to hurry up. Any longer, and he will be too late. Bauer followed Han Sen all the time. Han Sen never hid anything from Bauer. Aside from a few Geno arts that needed to be started from the very beginning, Bauer knew them all save for a handful. So, Bauer could use almost all of the Geno arts Han Sen had learned. The Geno arts known by Huang Fujing and the others could also be used by Bauer, and she could perform them just as well. Even the Geno arts owned by Moment God and other god spirits could be used by Bauer easily. In front of Qin Xiu, it did not matter what the skill was. It could be broken with ease. So far, Bauer could not use a complete skill set. She could not even make Qin Xiu move an inch. Huang Fujing, Lin Feng, Tang Zhenliu, Qin Xian, and the others did not go and join the fight, but they did watch Bauer fight Qin Xiu. It made them sweat to watch. When Bauer used their skills to fight Qin Xiu, he broke each performance completely. If Qin Xiu wanted to murder Bauer, she would have been killed many times over by now. They never thought their skills could possess such horrible flaws that they would be damaged like that. In the past, they thought it might have been their powers that were not strong enough. Now, they realized it was actually their skills possessing flaws that were the issue. After training with them for so many years, it was by mere luck that they were still alive. Although Bauer had millions of skills at her disposal, it was only a matter of time before she ran out. Even though she was really talented, she was feeling quite upset. Everyone had said she was the only one who could battle Qin Xiu. Now that she was really fighting Qin Xiu, she could really grasp just how terrible of a foe he was. They were both universe-class beings now, but Qin Xiu before her was like a god. It did not seem like he was a person who could be defeated. Are you going to give up now? You are everyone's hope, are you not? Your mother, the God Chaos Party leader, is waiting for you to beat me. Your friends and family are waiting for you to kill me. Are you going to disappoint them all? Qin Xiu seemed to see through what Bauer was thinking. After saying this, he finally made a move. Qin Xiu unleashed his first strike, but his attack was like he was copying what Bauer had just done before. All the skills were used in the precise way Bauer used them. What depressed Bauer the most was that when she was using the same skills before, Qin Xiu broke them easily. Now, when Qin Xiu used them the same way, she used Qin Xiu's ways to break the skills but could not break them. Bauer felt as if her body was suffocating under so much pressure. Being suppressed by Qin Xiu, she started to retreat. But there wasn't much space for her to fall back to. What is Qin Xiu doing? Does he not want to kill Bauer? Moon God was confused as she looked at Tai Yi. Anyone was able to tell that if Qin Xiu wanted to kill Bauer, it would not be difficult. Bauer was strong, but her experience and ability to control things was far inferior to Qin Xiu. Tai shook his head and said, "No, you do not understand human alpha or Qin Xiu. If he behaves like this, it means he wants to kill Bauer. What sense does that make?" Moon God asked. "He can torture and kill. That should not be difficult for him. After helping Bauer grow up, why would he also want to kill her? I cannot see that being viable." Tai was frozen. He looked at Qin Xiu strangely and said, "Human Alpha and Old Leader, and the other Old Leader, had a conflict with each other. Regarding what exactly happened, I do not know. There is one thing I know for sure, which is the fact that he harbors much hatred. That is especially true toward Bauer. In my past life, Human Alpha was the child of the Old Leader and the other Old Leader. His life was given by them. Bauer's heritage, however, is very complicated. With Qin Xiu's personality being what it is, if he wants to kill Bauer, he would at the very least like to give Bauer a chance. He wanted the old leader and the old hall leader to know that even if Bauer did as they wished, evolving into the best she could be, she was still going to lose to Qin Xiu. He does not want to just win easily. He wants to exact vengeance on everyone. He wants to break the hearts of the old leader and the old hall leader. Is he really that confident about it? Moon God asked with a frown. Does he think he can beat a perfectly shaped Bauer? After all, Bauer is the product of the old leader and old hall leader. If she really made it to the max, there is a chance that Qin Xiu might not win. If he did not have this confidence and pride, he would not be the real Qin Xiu, Tai said with a sigh. Moon God's face looked to be riddled with concern. She understood Qin Xiu more than Tai, and Tai's judgment was almost correct. Chaos knew Qin Xiu was going to kill Bauer this time. This was Bauer's last chance. Bauer, you must win. No matter how much Chaos tried to calm down, she was still a bit in shock. Qin Xiu made an arrogant gesture. He had deliberately behaved this way to make her feel a lot of pressure. It was like before the real deathmatch was to begin, Bauer had already failed. Qin Xiu was still suppressing Bauer. He was going to squeeze out every inch of potential Bauer had. Bauer's body was wreathed in gold fire. Qin Xiu's suppression of her made things very dim. It was concentrated in the gold armor, and it made the gold armor more like concentrated crystal. The gold light was floating around, looking like it was going to explode at any second. Still not enough? In that case, let us try again. Qin Xiu's punch was like a purple sun that was shining. He punched toward Bauer's belly. In the past, Qin Xiu's attacks were meant to just suppress and not deal damage. This time, it hit Bauer's body. The purple sun's punching power struck Bauer's armor. It created cracks across the surface of Bauer's gold armor that looked like a spider web. A suppressive gold flame burst out of the gold armor cracks. The fire suddenly wrapped up Bauer's body. In the explosion of gold light, Bauer's body became stronger. The fire turned into a gourd shadow that shielded Bauer's body. The shadow of the gourd was like a small universe that had lots of light shadows spinning. They gave people a mysterious and weird sort of feeling. Bauer has finally reached the max of her potential. She has created her own universe. Chaos was shocked and happy. She was happy about Bauer reaching her and the old hall leader's expectations. Now that Bauer had been pushed to this level, it meant she would have to properly engage in a death match with Qin Xiu. It was guaranteed that Qin Xiu would not hold back this time. Such a perfect body. I just do not know if she has what it takes to defeat Qin Xiu. Tai looked at the gourd light shadow of Bauer's body inside. Crepe Myrtle was watching this fight very seriously. He knew this was a fight in which there was going to be a winner determined. Qin Xiu watched Bauer's flames start to dim. His eyes were on fire as he shouted, "Come, use your strongest powers to fight me. Let's see if you can fulfill the wishes of your parents and kill me." The gold light in Bauer's eyes was like shining glass. Space around became virtual because of her existence. Everything was becoming virtual and unreal. Bauer was staring at Qin Xiu. She put her hands together, making countless gold flames gather around her hands. She slowly turned into a gold gourd. The gourd was one big and one small ball combined. Inside the two-ball shape was a separate universe of its own. Countless stars spun around inside there. All those beautiful energies exploded. It was like a whole universe was being made inside it. When Bauer's two-universe gourd was generated to the max, her eyes froze. The gourd spat out a beautiful golden light. It suddenly landed on Qin Xiu. The power was incredibly scary. Many elites watching it from afar felt the light beam's power. Upon feeling it, their hearts jumped. They almost coughed up blood. They could not imagine what it must have been like to block that light. Everything in front of that light was absorbed and dissolved. Space had a vacuum zone. It was unknown if the light beam was just too fast or if Qin Xiu was not planning on avoiding it, but Qin Xiu's purple aura rose. It was like a universal river was surrounding him. It was the same universe class power that Bauer had. Pang! The gold and the purple, those two universe powers, collided against each other. The systems around melted. Countless planets suddenly vanished. It was like they had just disappeared. In fact, it was not just the planets. Everything between Bauer and Qin Xiu vanished. It created an absolute vacuum zone. Fortunately, they were just one system away from each other. If they were a universe away from each other, the whole universe would have been destroyed by them. All of the spirits and creatures were shocked. Bauer and Qinxiu's fight had reached a level in which they could destroy planets. If they kept on fighting, the universe was sure to be broken. Under the force of the scary power striking, Bauer was unable to control her power or retreat for a while. Qinxiu's body remained stoic and unmoving. Nothing had changed. Qinxiu opened his mouth and calmly said, "It is just as they thought. But so what if you become perfect?" He walked toward Bauer. Bauer gnashed her teeth and exploded with power. She attacked Qinxiu. Purple power rose on Qinxiu's body. One punch after another, he managed to break Bauer's gourd universe power. It made Bauer's body fall back with blood dripping out from her lips. Chaos's face was looking gray. She knew it was already over. Bauer had evolved to the strongest possible being she could be, but she was still unable to defeat Qinxiu. In that universe, there was no one else who could defeat Qinxiu. "It is over," Tai sighed too. "What is Crepe Myrtle waiting for?" Tai asked with a frown. "Bauer cannot beat Qinxiu. If he does not reboot the universe now, there will be no chance of rebooting it later." In the Geno Hall, Light Goddess and Moment God, two of the 12 main Annihilation-class god spirits, were bewildered. They did not know what Crepe Myrtle was waiting for either. "Mister, this is our final chance," Light Goddess said. "While Bauer has yet to lose, we can reboot the universe and start anew." "Wait a little longer," Crepe Myrtle said to stop her from speaking. "Mister, what can you possibly be waiting for?" Moment God asked. She could tell Crepe Myrtle was waiting for something, but she could not think of what he might be waiting for that might defeat Qinxiu. If they did not do something while Bauer was stalling Qinxiu, and Qinxiu completely unleashed his power, the universe would not be able to be rebooted. "I am waiting for hope," Crepe Myrtle quietly said. Even though that was what he said, a streak of worry crossed his eyes. Han Sen had not yet broken the wall and emerged. On top of that, Bauer had lost. It was just as Light Goddess said. If they were to keep waiting and Bauer lost, Han Sen would still not have hope. There would be no chance of salvation. His heart hesitated, but Crepe Myrtle was still determined to wait. He did not want to reboot the universe just yet. Crepe Myrtle knew that rebooting the universe would damage a lot. More importantly, it might not even work on Qinxiu. Light Goddess wished to say something more, but a gold light suddenly shattered. Bauer's battle armor totally cracked. Many purple airs came from the battle armor's cracks and went into her body. It was like many small, toxic snakes were surrounding Bauer's body. It made Bauer's face look very pale. She gnashed her teeth. A gold light kept exploding, but she could not break through the purple air's restrictions. The genes only determine something's beginnings. They can never determine the end. It is a simple concept, but it is something only a very few grasp. Chaos, do you not think that is the case? Qinxiu looked at Chaos, who had broken space to come. Chaos looked at Bauer as she said to Qinxiu, "You win. We have lost. Whatever we said in the past is wrong. Are you happy now? You should let Bauer go. She has no personal vendetta with you. If you hate something so much, why don't you just kill me in its stead? This has nothing to do with Bauer." Qinxiu did not answer her. He looked to where the Geno Hall was and coldly said, "I am human alpha reincarnate, but reincarnation is just a reincarnation. I am Qinxiu. I am not human alpha. Although because of human king's memory I am willing to do something, it does not mean I want to kill Bauer as human alpha might. Does that mean you are willing to let Bauer go free?" Chaos asked with a hint of glee. Qinxiu said, "Letting her go or not does not really matter to her." "What is that supposed to mean?" Chaos's face changed. "It means everything will one day begin again," Qinxiu said. "That includes you, me, her, and even my little sister, Wanner." He did not look at how Chaos reacted. He went straight for the Geno tablet. "Geno tablet, go and get me Wanner," Qinxiu spoke softly said as he stood near the Geno tablet. The Geno tablet flashed. A shadow came from the Geno tablet. It was the black-haired Wanner. Wanner was resting in a crystal coffin. It looked as if she was fast asleep. Her pretty eyes were closed, and her eyebrows were set in a frown-like placement. She looked as if she was fast asleep, but it also looked like she had a lot of things going on in her mind. Qin Xiu reached out his hands to touch the crystal coffin. The coffin shattered. Wanner's body fell into Qin Xiu's arms. Wanner, everything will be over soon enough. You are still the nice and beautiful Wanner. All of this is just a dream. After Qin Xiu spoke, his body burst with a purple light. It shone alongside the Geno tablet's light. It was like a sun shining on a sky full of everything. Purple light was shining on the Geno universe and the universe of kingdoms. The whole world had become purple. The purple light seemed to possess a weird piercing power. Even the Geno Hall in space had a purple light. It became a purple hall and another god temple. The purple light was in a jade stone wall. It made the jade stone wall and metal become crystallized. It was like a purple crystal. The world had become a weird, purple, ghost world. It was beautiful and weird, and it also gave people a chill. What is going on? My power! Someone shouted and screamed. They noticed their power was leaking. It came out from their bodies. Even the break world creatures were acting in such a way. The stronger they were, the faster their power left them. It created a purple stream. It was gathering up in the space tablet. Even the Geno Hall and the God Temple God spirits were like this. Space Garden's humans and creatures could not stop their powers from leaking. Bauer leaked out most of the purple light. It was like seawater in the air. It was going for the Geno tablet. The real streams, rivers, lakes, seas, mountains, glaciers, suns, moons, and planets were releasing their power. Everything was realizing its power. All the power went to the Geno tablet. The universe was screaming. What is Qin Xiu doing? He seems to be wielding reboot powers. At the same time, this isn't. Light Goddess could sense her god power start to fade away. She was in shock. Crepe Myrtle let out a wry smile. He really wants to completely reboot the universe. He wants to bring the universe right back to the point Qin Wanner was born and before the time he even received his blood pulse. That is impossible. Not even a real god spirit can reverse time and space for real. Moment God was a time element, top-class elite. She knew the ability to reverse time and space was just a myth. Not even a godly kind could do it. In theory, there was a time axis. God spirits seemed to be able to go back in time, but that wasn't really the ability to reverse time and space. It was because time and space could not be reversed. Whatever happened, happened. Unless one wiped out what happened, things could not be taken back. If one was able to go back to the past, what one saw and experienced would just be a trace of time. It would not be a real reversal of time. Crepe Myrtle looked at Bauer and said, "It is not entirely impossible to reverse time and space. The rebooting power itself has the authority necessary for erasing time and space, but this authority can only affect the universe itself. The creatures in the universe will be changed by this effect. They cannot go back to their original mode in the universe. Unless there was someone powerful enough to wipe out everything that happened to every single creature and put the universe back at a certain point, and with the universe's reboot power, you could theoretically reverse time and space. But that is impossible. Reversing time and space for everything in the universe? That would mean everything that has a relation to something would also have to be reversed. That is far too much he needs to wipe." After Moment God spoke of this, she looked terrible. Qin Xiu helped Bauer evolve to ultimate mode solely, so he could use her power. It was not just Bauer either. It's also our power. After Moment God said that, she looked terrible. Light Goddess saw Crepe Myrtle's body unleash a purple stream. Clearly, his power was also being drained. She quickly said, "Mister, hurry up and reboot the Geno Hall and universe now." The whole Geno Hall was shaking. It was like it was peeling away from space. All of the god spirits knew that it wasn't actually flaking down from space. It was the Geno Hall being peeled away from the rules of the universe. It had lost control of the universe. Clearly, this was because the power of the Geno tablet was too strong. It had become the new universal management tool. It was now replacing the Geno Hall. "Mister, if we do not do the last risky move, it will be too late," Moment God said in a desperate plea for action. "If we keep waiting, I am afraid we will not have another chance." Crepe Myrtle looked at the Geno Hall being peeled away from the universe's core rules. He then looked at the evolution wall. He looked serious, but he did not say a word. A purple stream was gathering everywhere in the universe. A weak life power had almost faded away. They then realized their bodies were undergoing weird changes. After losing their powers, the old and dying creatures started to become young again. In the beginning, they were very excited. It did not take them long to realize it was something scary was unfolding. The two universes' times had reversed. The things that had happened in the past were being reversed. At the same time that the creatures experienced the past, they noticed they were also missing something. While they were trying to remember what it was they were going to forget, they realized it was gone. They questioned why they were even thinking about the loss in the first place. They were so weak, so they did not know. When the time and space of their beings reversed, the cause that was related to them was also wiped out. This was just the beginning. Powerful creatures could fight against the power, but they could imagine the creatures around their bodies fading away when they erased and cast off the cause and fates that had already come to pass. It was hard to imagine how shocked they all felt. Damn it! What does Qin Xiu want to do? In God Chaos Party, there was a scary roaring noise. They felt the changes taking place inside their bodies. They were very strong. Although they were not strong enough to reverse time, they were shockingly able to notice that parts of their memories were starting to fade away. With how much they had evolved, they could even remember something small quite vividly. They weren't the type to forget things. Therefore, there was only one possibility. The cause connection was being wiped away, and that was why they could not remember things. The more powerful the creatures were, the more scared they became. They then noticed how hard it was to evolve. For time and space to reverse like this, it was something of a disaster to them. The scarier thing about all of this was that no one knew how or when Qin Xiu wanted to reverse time and space too. If he reversed time and space back to a time before they were even born, then that made them question if they would even exist, let alone reaching where they currently were. No one could accurately foretell what was going to happen. Damn it, Moon God said as a terrible look cast across her face. Qin Xiu is not really reversing time and space. He is just trying to wipe out this time and space. He is forcing the universe to go back to the time before his sister gave him her blood. Tai looked at his power fading away and coldly said, "You are right. Time and space cannot be reversed. The only thing you can do is destroy it. You can wipe the slate clean and start all over again. If time and space really are wiped away, will the time and space of the past also continue?" Moon God asked. "Nobody knows because no one has done such a thing before," Tai said. "Even God's spirits can only go back to the time and space of before. They go back to a certain scene. They don't really reverse things. Qin Xiu is the only one who has ever dared to think this way. By daring to think this way, he also believed he was able to do it. He was right too. So what? Even if he did believe it, that does not mean we have to throw away our lives on his behalf. No, we must do something to stop him." Moon God gnashed her teeth as she spoke. She had just found Tai. Only recently had she been able to be with Tai again. The events that transpired in her past had not been easy for her. Even if Qin Xiu could make things go back, she did not want to revisit her past. "It is too late," Tai said. "Now, no one is capable of stopping Qin Xiu. Even if you and Crepe Myrtle work together, could you not succeed?" Moon God asked. Tai shook his head. "No. If Qin Xiu did not defeat Bauer, or if he did not activate Bauer's potential, it might have been fine. Now, no one can stop him. Qin Xiu's power is pretty much like a universe. Plus, he has the Geno Tablet and its power in his grasp. The Geno Tablet is the ruler of the universe. It can use everything in the universe. Plus, with a Bauer that is equal to another universe, in this universe, there can be no other spirit power that is able to compete with such a sheer magnitude of power. We can only take risks with him." As Tai spoke, many scary creatures were breaking space and ascending. They were rushing to Qin Xiu, wanting to stop him from reversing space. God Chaos Party members, God spirits, break world elites from 2 universes, many humans from Space Garden. It did not matter if all these factions were friends or foes. They were all united now. They let bygones be bygones and faced their common enemy, Qin Xiu. Qin Xiu had become the enemy of every single elite across both universes. No one was willing to be erased from existence. A scary power was bullying everything in the universe. It looked like it could destroy everything, but Qin Xiu was holding water and just sitting down atop the Geno tablet. He was atop the tablet, but he was softly looking down on water. He did not really care about the scary elites coming toward him in droves, covering the sky and the ground. He did not even raise his head to look at them. No matter how powerful those creatures were, the closer they got to Qin Xiu and the Geno tablet, the more the power in their bodies faded away. It was fading fast. When their powers struck Qin Xiu, the Geno tablet released a halo to absorb all of their powers and leave no trace of them. The Geno tablet absorbed their powers. Although they had become strong and scary, the speed at which they were being consumed was even faster. The whole universe was experiencing something horrifically scary. Many scary creatures were shaking. They were all angrily looking at Qin Xiu. They were all full of hate for him, but they were also all very scared. Some people did not want to give up. They kept trying to hit the Geno tablet, but that cost them everything. Their powers became just supplied the Geno tablet's power. They made time and space reverse even faster, seeing their friends and families and even enemies fade away and cease to exist. The ground, rivers, and mountains all change. A sky full of stars move, and the sea and the fields reverse. Suddenly, hopelessness struck every aspect and facet of the universe. God, please save us. The sky was full of purple light. Every creature was reversing into nothing. Countless spirits were crying and begging for salvation. The god spirits they were begging were not safe either. The god spirits were also starting to fade. The god statues in the god temples were all gone because of the reversal of time. Time was going back to a point before the god spirits even existed. Mister, please, give us the order to fight back. Even if we get destroyed along with the universe, we do not want to be humiliated in such a fashion. Light Goddess and the other god spirits all kneeled before Crepe Myrtle, pleading for him to act. Damn it! Why has he still not revealed himself? Has it really not worked? Crepe Myrtle looked toward the evolution wall with a serious gaze. He stood up and approached it. Light Goddess gnashed her teeth and asked, Mister, do you mind telling me what you are waiting for? At a moment like this one, what more could you possibly be waiting for? Crepe Myrtle said, I am waiting for someone. I am waiting for a person who can bring hope to this bleak universe. He reached out his hand and pressed it against the evolution wall. He could not, however, feel any sense of movement in it. He even beat Bauer, Moment God said. Who else can bring hope to this universe? The only one who can stop Qin Xiu is you and us. Crepe Myrtle looked at Light Goddess. With a wry smile, he said, Do you guys think I do not want to reboot the universe? I am merely worried that rebooting the universe will not hurt Qin Xiu. As a matter of fact, it will speed up his plan. That is why I am hesitant to do it. You what? Light Goddess and the other god spirits were shocked by this. The old leader gave his power to me so I could shepherd the Geno Hall and become a worthy successor for leadership and earn reboot class powers. Although I am reboot class now, compared to the old leader of this hall, I am considerably inferior in strength. The old hall leader could use his power to reboot the entire universe, whereas I must use the Geno Hall's power to reboot the universe. After pausing, Crepe Myrtle developed a wry smile and proceeded to say, As for Qin Xiu, he did not just inherit the old leader's gene to earn a reboot blood pulse. He got the God Chaos Party leader's genes and broke through to universe class. You might be able to say Qin Xiu is stronger than the old leader was, and he has also borrowed the Geno tablet's power. He also has Bauer's power. His power is too strong to imagine, and he has reboot powers. He is stronger than me. If I use my reboot power, I might not be able to stop him. I might actually end up helping him. With Qin Xiu's tricky mind, this might be something he expects. I see, but things are in motion right now, Moment God said. If we are doomed to fail, you might as well try it. If you try it, it might work. If you don't, then there is no additional chance. You miss every shot you don't take. No, we still have another chance, Crepe Myrtle said as he turned his eyes to the evolution wall. The crazy battle god, who had not been speaking, suddenly asked, Mister, what is in the evolution wall? What other chance are you talking about? Did I not just tell you guys that I am waiting for someone to come out from here? Crepe Myrtle replied as he looked at the wall. Moment God suddenly realized something. Is the person you are talking about a human? What else could it be? Yes, it is a human. Crepe Myrtle nodded. Human? What human could possibly fight Qinxiu? Moment God really could not think of who this might be. Even Bauer was beaten by Qinxiu, so what human could possibly defeat Qinxiu? Light Goddess looked weird as she made a suggestion. Could the person you were referring to be Han Sen? All of the god spirits felt a shock. They looked at Crepe Myrtle. He nodded in response. Moment God looked weirded out and said, Mister, do you think Han Sen can actually walk that step? Has it not been proven that he physically cannot take that step? And Master Bauer, who walked that step, actually failed. Even if he takes that step, he is not a comparable rival to Qinxiu. Plus, he could not take that step to be a universe-class being. Crepe Myrtle wanted to open his mouth and say something, but the evolution wall suddenly started to shine. The thousands of race texts on the wall started to glow. They flickered like many suns. All of the god spirits looked at the evolution wall. They saw the flickering race names start to peel and crack. Feather, Sky, Real, Rob, Destroyed. Every race name was breaking. It was like every race was being destroyed. Every race text shattered, leaving cracks behind on the evolution wall surface. Thousands of race texts shattered in a moment. In the end, the word fairy was destroyed as well. The whole evolution wall exploded to become a sky full of dust that was all over the place. Many god spirits looked at the evolution wall in shock. That thing had been there since the beginning of time. It was the foundation of the Geno Hall. Even god kings could not destroy it. It was a Geno stone that was never supposed to break. Amidst the dust and haze, a shadow emerged. Every god spirit's vision started to clear. Bauer. Chaos's body power was fading away. She still went for Bauer. She wanted to save Bauer from Qinxiu's power. Much to her dismay and the dismay of everyone who was watching these terrible events unfold, the power of her attack was wholly drained and extinguished. It was taken from her. It was snatched out of her hands by the purple light she was desperately trying to repel. After that, she was left in a weakened state by the purple light. She was worse off than ever. She was God Chaos Party's leader. In the past, she was strong and famous. Now, she felt hopeless and powerless. It was the type of scenario reserved solely for nightmares. Both of her hands were doing their best to get rid of the restrictions on Bauer, but nothing she tried to do worked. There was nothing that could be done. It also made her power weaker and weaker. Her spirit body was on the verge of breaking for good. Bauer was still stuck inside. Her universe power had been robbed. It became Qinxiu's time and space reversal power. Bauer, Mother hurt you. Chaos was hopelessly holding the trapped Bauer. The sky and the ground were big, but the universe was bigger. But no one could save her dear daughter. No one could save the product of love that was produced with her lover. Dad will save me. Bauer was still struggling. She was fighting against the restrictions. She gnashed her teeth. Her voice was quiet, but it was confident. Chaos felt extremely bitter about things, but she didn't say anything. She did not want to. She did not want to break Bauer's resolute hope that there was still a chance. She did not want her to face the harsh reality that surrounded her. That is good, Chaos said with a sigh. She did not say anything more. She held Bauer tight and enjoyed the final, fleeting moments of her life. It is over. It is all over. In the God Chaos Party, seeing so many friends fade away because of the reversing of time and space, with some being wiped out straight away, the scariness could not be described. The whole universe's cause connection was together. Erasing one person's cause wiped out the people who were connected to them. The items and the people were all connected as well. It all led to more people and substances being removed. In that cause connection net, the weaker ones would be wiped out first. Then, the whole cause net would be taken away and scrubbed clean. In the end, they would be completely erased from time and space. No. Even the break world creatures were scared and trembling now. The normal, living creatures were killed in greater swathes and even faster. In the universe of kingdoms, many humans just vanished. They would be speaking in 1 second and be gone in the next. The Geno universe was very much the same. The whole of the Geno universe was in the grip of fear and hopelessness. Many creatures begged for the protection of the god spirits. When they saw the Geno Hall burn with a purple flame and falling in space, every being felt more hopeless and terrified than they had ever been before. Are the gods destroyed too? Everyone had a bad feeling. Mother. No. Mother. Han Linger held Ji Yinran. Her tears kept dropping. Ji Yinran's body was returning to its youth. Time kept going backward without pause. From a married woman to a young woman, from a woman to a teen, from a teen to a child the size of Han Linger, Ji Yinran's body was changing. At the same time, the things she had been through and her history were wiped out. In Space Garden, many students were being turned into babies because of the reversal of time. This world is going to end. Sky Palace leader leaned against a stone pillar. He saw a purple light rise across the universe and felt bitter. Hopelessness was everywhere. Ding! A crunchy noise was heard throughout the sky and across the whole world. It was not loud, but it was very clear in everyone's ear. In that universe, which was covered by a weird purple light, there was a small gold light. When the people watching were able to recognize the gold light was actually a golden coin, the people screamed, "Dollar!" A coin soared through space. It dinged when hit the Geno tablet. It was like it had been drawn to the big block like a magnet. It stuck to the surface of the Geno tablet. The Geno tablet had been like a full-on generator seconds before. Now, it was as if it had stopped. The reversal of the universe suddenly came to an end. The two universes were dead silent. The whole world was covered in purple light. Countless creatures had a purple light surrounding them, but they did not keep on reversing as they did before. All of the creatures were shocked as they looked at Dollar. They did not quite know what was going on. They did, however, muster a glimmer of hope, even if they were afraid that renewed hope might buckle and break any second. Da-da, da-da. In the silent universe, footsteps rang out obscenely loud. Everyone turned their heads in the direction of those footsteps to look. Qin Xiu had been softly staring at Wanner the whole time. Now, he was willing to move his vision away from the slumbering Wanner and peer into the purple light. A shadow emerged from the purple light and came close to the Geno tablet. The shadow became clearer as time went by. When the figure reached the Geno tablet, everyone was able to discern his face. Han Sen, Sanmu, Dollar, Wealth God. Suddenly, many people were screaming aloud these names throughout the universe. The names were all different, but they were all spoken in shock and exuberant glee. Chaos was holding Bauer while this happened, anticipating the end of all. She opened her eyes wide and looked at Han Sen with sheer disbelief. I knew Daddy would come. Because her universe powers had been taken, Bauer was like a baby again. Her small face was very happy. Han Sen looked at Qin Xiu, and Qin Xiu looked at him. Han Sen quietly said, Qin Xiu, give it up. Are you going to be the hero of this tale and come here to judge me for my sins? Qin Xiu clutched Wanner and looked at Han Sen disdain. I have never claimed to be a hero, and I am not capable of judging you, Han Sen said. If I were in your position, perhaps I would have sought to do the same thing you are doing. Qin Xiu's eyes lit up with surprise. But you still stand in front of me looking to fight me. Han Sen looked into space. After looking at Bauer, Ji Yinran, Han Linger, Han Little Flower, and the others, he looked sad. His expression quickly changed to one of certainty. When he looked at Qin Xiu again, his face remained unchanging. That is because the people I care about are all against you, Han Sen said. You will destroy the universe for Wanner, so I will protect this universe for the people I care about. It does not matter. Making the distinction between what is righteous and what is evil, right or wrong, is all down to luck. Between you and I, only one of us can protect that which we want to. Qin Xiu laughed. You are right. We are the same kind of people. This fight cannot be avoided. Unless you give up the idea of reversing time and space. Han Sen asked, would you? I will not, Qin Xiu replied. Would you? I will not either. Han Sen's answer came without a glimpse of hesitation. Very good. Qin Xiu stood up. He put Wanner down on his seat softly. He kissed her on the forehead and said, Wanner, wait here for me. Your big brother will save you from this nightmare very soon. When he turned around, He was like an angel turning into a demon. When Qinxiu looked at Han Sen, his soft face was totally gone. His eyes looked certain and impervious to change. Although I was controlled by chaos as well back then, most of the time, I was sleeping. I could still feel your existence. It was, however, a magical feeling. I did not know who you were until the Geno prototype armor shell completely melted and my own will started to assert control. Then, every now and again, I was able to feel you exist. Qinxiu looked at Han Sen and went on to ramble. To me, you are the closest stranger. When I felt you for the very first time, it was very weird. What feelings were they? Han Sen asked. You and I are too similar, Qinxiu coldly said. If we weren't going to become friends, it was obvious we would become enemies. It looks like your predictions were fairly accurate, but I wish you were not accurate, Han Sen said with a sigh. Qinxiu looked at Han Sen and said, You practiced with 4 Geno arts. One came from Sister Moon's Cold Sutra. Blood Pulse Sutra came from Blood Legion. Dongxian Sutra came from Xian Min, and the story of genes hailed from my own first life. If you have practiced Cold Sutra to the max, and you have taken that step and purified your genes, the small universe you will create must be incredible. Blood Pulse Sutra is not for fighting, but it can make a small universe. It would be the best out of the 4 Geno arts. The Dongxian Sutra is a strong Geno art. Perhaps when that reaches the max, it can renew the universe, but it will not be your small universe alone. After saying all of that, Qinxiu stopped talking. You revealed the first 3 skills, so why don't you reveal the story of genes? Han Sen asked. Because it is a skill that cannot be practiced. When I woke up with my past memories, I debated whether or not to practice the story of genes. Ultimately, I gave it up. After pausing, Qinxiu looked at Han Sen and said, In fact, what helped you to progress with the story of genes was not chaos. It was me. It was you? Han Sen looked at Qinxiu in shock. He seemed to be surprised by this answer. Qinxiu said, Chaos wanted to help you. After all, she had studied the Sky People. But it was a shame she was not the one who created the story of genes. She did not understand the story of genes much. If I did not do something when she did it secretly, even with the Geno prototype armor's help, you would have been unable to learn the story of genes. Why did you decide to do that? Han Sen asked. I wanted to know if the story of genes only led to a dead end or not, Qinxiu said with a smile. Now that you have seen what you have, I know for certain it is not a dead end. You have walked its path. I do not know if I have walked it or not, or if I am even on its path at all, Han Sen said. It is a shame that between you and I, only one of us can go forward, Qinxiu said. A purple light started to rise. The Geno tablet's words, which had been so dim, suddenly started to shine brightly. The coin that was stuck on the Geno tablet bounced away and returned to Han Sen's hand. Time stopped reversing earlier, but now it was starting again. It was stronger than before too. Time was soaring back. The whole universe was going back. Countless creatures were fading away. The spirits that went to the Geno Hall were going to the Geno tablet. The souls that were in the Geno tablet did not reincarnate. They were absorbed by the Geno tablet. The whole universe has already combined. I am the universe. The universe is me. If you seek to defeat me, you will have to destroy the universe. If you cannot defeat me, the universe will restart from the point when I was the happiest with Wanner. Qinxiu's body's purple light combined with the Geno tablet and the universe. He was like a sky god that could control the sky and the ground. Han Sen looked dim. He looked at the countless planets like they were countless souls flying. Many planets faded away. Many planets that did not exist or only existed in ancient times were now appearing. His fight against Qinxiu was not just about one person against another. It was not that simple. It was about fighting against the universe. Han Sen did not know if his decision was good or bad for the universe, but he knew that if the universe did exist, Ji Yanran and Bauer would exist. Stop him. The God Temple fell. The Geno Hall fell. Annihilation-class God Spirit bodies began to fade. A sky full of God Spirits screamed together. It was not just the God Spirits. The God Chaos Party, the universe of kingdoms, 10,000 race genes, countless creatures, and many more cried endlessly. They all screamed and cried. Countless creatures cried and prayed for salvation. The universe was covered by purple mist. Everything was breaking to its relentless encroachment. Come, let me see the powers of your little universe. I want to see if you will be able to stop my will. Qin Xiu was like a demon god. His voice echoed through the universe. I cannot wake up my little universe. Han Sen's body was covered by purple light, but his voice could be heard by everyone. Has he not woken up a small universe? Chaos's face changed. Crepe Myrtle looked bitter. Was the evolution wall suppression still not enough to wake up his body? The universe is too big, Han Sen said. My heart is not big enough. I cannot keep that much stuff inside. All I have are my coins. Now, I will give them to you. He raised his thumb and fired a coin at Qin Xiu. In the purple universe, that coin became a smart and outstanding showcase. It went through the purple air and kept spinning toward Qin Xiu with both sides flapping. Qin Xiu's eyes froze in place. The whole universe's purple light was going to the coin. It was trying to stop the coin's advance. The coin was rapidly spinning, and it was not stopping. Its front and back were showing, bouncing back the purple light. The coin was like a gold bolt of lightning that was coursing through space. It rushed before Qin Xiu without slowing down for a second. Qin Xiu frowned. He opened his hand and sought to grab the coin. Qin Xiu looked at the coin and asked, "Is that the power of the story of genes? It is very unusual. My universe powers cannot control it." The coin looked old. There was only the number 1 on its front. It looked like it was only worth $1. Qin Xiu wanted to flip the coin over and see what was on the back, but he noticed the coin was stuck in his hand. He was unable to turn it over. Han Sen looked at Qin Xiu and said, "No, this is not the story of genes' power, but you can still say it is. Are you saying that the story of genes is a part of you, but this is not a part of the story of genes?" How smart was Qin Xiu? He immediately understood Han Sen. "Yes," Han Sen said. "That means by destroying it, you will be destroyed too. Isn't that right?" Qin Xiu looked weird. His eyes flickered. A purple mist gathered along his body. It was like there was a demon covering his body. Qin Xiu clenched his palm tight. A scary power exploded in his fist. He was going to crush the coin into dust. In the next second, Qin Xiu's face changed. He started to look glum. His fist was shaking. His fingers were moving. Some gold, rainbow light came out from the gaps in his fingers. His body's purple light was going to the coin very quickly. What kind of power is this? Qin Xiu's face changed to something ghastly. His whole body had been trapped by this coin. It was getting sucked into the coin. Qin Xiu used every power he could, but he could not stop his body from getting sucked into the coin. Qin Xiu held his arm. His hands were getting slowly sucked into the coin. Han Sen said to him, "Although I did not wake up a small universe, I can eat any universe I choose. That includes your small universe. Maybe I am not a human anymore. How is such a thing even possible?" Qin Xiu's eyes trembled, but only for just a moment. In the next moment, Qin Xiu's other hand acted like a knife to cut off the arm that had a hand holding the coin. "That is useless." Han Sen shook his head. Qin Xiu cut off his arm, but his arm was sucked into the coin. Qin Xiu's body was still unable to escape the suction of the coin. He was still getting sucked in. His body was falling into the coin. No matter how much power he exploded with, he could not escape or deny the coin's force of suction. Suddenly, half of his body had been sucked very close to the coin. "I did not expect this to happen. I really did not expect this. The power of the story of genes is so strong. If I had known this sooner, why would I bother getting the Geno prototype armor? I did not expect this. I will lose to my own Geno art." Qin Xiu laughed maniacally. His laugh was a bit strange. It was a bit sad, but it was also a bit happy. One could not describe what sort of smile he had. "Yes, you have lost to yourself," Han Sen said. "No, I did not lose yet. Even if I die, if Warner can assert happiness, then that is already enough." Qin Xiu looked at the Geno tablet and Warner. He was happy and said, "Warner, goodbye. Even if Big Brother is gone, you must continue to live happily." "Oh no." Crepe Myrtle's face changed. He wanted to remind Han Sen about something, but it was too late. Seeing Qin Xiu's mouth cough up some blood, a purple bloodlight was spat at the Geno tablet. Almost at the same time, Qin Xiu's body was sucked in the coin completely. That coin showed its back now. There was a purple shadow behind the coin. It was Qin Xiu's face. Behind Qin Xiu was a universe that looked like a star. God. One universe coin. There was a voice in Han Sen's brain, but he did not bother listening to it. The Geno tablet absorbed the purple bloodlight Qin Xiu spat out. It suddenly started to run madly. The universe's time and space collapsed. It was like it was the end of the world. Oh no. The Geno tablet is the controller of the universe. Qin Xiu is dead, but he activated the Geno tablet's self-destruct command, which was the last resort. The whole universe is going to be buried alongside Qin Xiu. Light Goddess's face looked pale. No, Qin Xiu did not want the Geno tablet to self-destruct, Crepe Myrtle said. He wanted to bring the universe back to Warner's time. Moment God gnashed her teeth and screamed, Han Sen, hurry up and stop the Geno tablet. It cannot be allowed to continue. The Geno Hall was breaking. It is futile, Crepe Myrtle said. Only Qin Xiu can command the Geno tablet. Qin Xiu is dead. No one can command the Geno tablet. If you want to destroy the Geno tablet, it means you destroy the universe. If you do not destroy it, with the Geno tablet controlling the universe now, it will take the universe back to that time. That means it is game over for everything now. All of the god spirits were very sad. The whole universe was full of apocalyptic cries. It did not matter if the people were from the universe of kingdoms or the Geno universe, since several places were falling. Countless spirits succumbed and died to the disaster. The spirits were like stars rising above a sea. They all flew to the Geno tablet. Han Sen, save Bauer first. Chaos could tell the universe's reversal could not be stopped. She wanted Han Sen to save Bauer first and foremost. I will save Bauer, but that which I need to save is not just Bauer. Han Sen reached out his hand and pulled a stone clock out of his pocket. He knocked the stone clock's surface and said, by Dollar's name, a sky full of everything will listen to me. Make everything go back to normal. Via Han Sen's voice, the madly running Geno tablet suddenly stopped. In the next second, the Geno tablet that was consuming everything suddenly spit out the power it had just absorbed. The universe that had been destroyed by the reversal started to come alive again. A sky full of everything and all creatures felt their powers return. Space was becoming lively again. It was a very joyous occasion. Everyone raised their heads to the sky and looked at the shadow of the Geno tablet. The shadow was burned into the deepest part of their brains. They would never forget this.